Brought to you by Canadian Pacific, owned by Canadians, working for Canadians. By Firestone, a new generation of tires from a world of experience. And by Carling O'Keefe, brewers of OV and the Carlsberg family.
The battle of the Roughriders, East versus West. Two teams fighting for a playoff position in a game that has attracted standing room only to Taylor Field in Regina. Hi, everybody. I'm Don Whitman with Ron Lancaster. Ron Lancaster, you suffered through two agonizing years. Building. They are now one of the more exciting teams in the CFL, a team that has totally utilized the two-quarterback system.
They certainly have, Don, and I didn't really suffer through the season. In fact, I kind of enjoyed them. They were a lot of fun for me, but this year they have gone to the two-quarterback seasons, have been very, very successful with them. As you see, Joe Barnes, the former Alouette, will start once again for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, as he's done in the past. Here you see Joe against his former teammates trying to throw a screen past to Lester Brown. He gets trapped, and he does what he does best, and that's scramble. He finds Emmanuel Talbert downfield, and he turns what should be a surefire loss into an awful big gainer. The other quarterback has been the relief ace for the Riders this season, John Huffnagel. He has come off the bench for him in the last 2 or 3 ball games and thrown the ball just extremely well. John, you see here, goes back to pass. He looks around. He finds another one of his great receivers, Krista France, in the seam. He turns it upfield and turns the play into a big gainer. So the two-quarterback season has been very, very successful for them.
Huffnagel coming on in relief to win 2 ball games. He almost pulled one off against the Edmonton Eskimos as well. The Ottawa Roughriders, a team that a lot of people are inclined to write off at the start of almost every football season.
You betcha. I think they've got the best head coach maybe in the country. The guy has done an awful lot for that football team. He's an old teammate of mine. Here you see George Brancato now in his 8th season as the head coach of the Ottawa Roughriders. During this time, he has never missed the playoffs. He has had 3 first-place finishes and 1 Grey Cup championship to his credit. As you say, every year they write him off for last place, but he always manages to build a team as a championship team by the end of the season. He needs the effort from this man right here, Jordan Case. If he's going to have success today, Case rolls out, finds Tony Gabriel in the end zone for a touchdown against the Toronto Argonauts. As we were talking about Jordan Case, he does what he does best, and that's roll. And he, in his 2nd year with the Riders, has quickly established himself as the leader of the Ottawa Football Club. His wide-open style of play is very appealing to the fans, but it creates a lot of problems for opposing teams.
Well, you definitely need a program to identify the Ottawa Roughriders. Coach George Brancato has made an awful lot of changes in the past couple of weeks, but this is a much improved Ottawa Football Club from the one that started the 1981 CFL season. We're just about set, and after this commercial message, we'll return with our national anthem. An almost party-like atmosphere prevails at Taylor Field. Newfound excitement, rejuvenated interest in this Saskatchewan football team. And Joe Faragelli, the head coach, has done quite a job in moving this team into its current ranking of 3rd in the West. Right now, our national anthem. With the Ottawa Roughrider kickoff right after this. Jordan Case slated to be the starting quarterback for the Ottawa Roughriders. However, he'll have to wait a spell before he gets an opportunity to test his throwing arm in action as the Ottawa Roughriders will kick off. Jerry Organ moves up and this game is underway. Dwight Edwards starting out from his goal area. He runs into a traffic jam in the vicinity of the 22, and that's the point the Saskatchewan Roughriders will scrimmage with Bill Mitchell making the tackle.
I'm sure the Riders would have liked to have a little better field position there, but it's good coverage by the defense. They got down fast, they covered the lanes, and as a result, they had nowhere to go, but they're ready to go right now.
Joe Barnes, the starting quarterback. He sends Tobin wide to the right. Edwards comes out to the left. Barnes rolling to his left, looking for Edwards. He finds him. Very close to a first down at the 33. Jonathan Sutton was the man covering the very speedy Dwight Edwards. And one thing the Ottawa Roughriders must do this afternoon is respect his speed.
You betcha. Dwight Edwards is probably the fastest man on the club. I don't think there's any doubt. He just runs down the field, turns out, breaks to the sideline. Barnes gets the time, gets outside, and completes the pass to Dwight Edwards.
Barnes the quarterback. Bigger and Brown are the running backs. A very talented group of receivers. Some figure they might be the best in the league as a unit. And the offensive line. One change from their most recent outing against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, as Jerry Hornett has replaced Bob Foley as offensive center. The measurement reveals it is just inches short of a first down. So the Roughriders send in their short yardage unit.
Jerry Hornet's a fine football player in his own right. He's been playing behind Bob Foley, and I think that's mainly because he tries to back up all the positions along the line and tackles the guards and the centers. But when he gets the opportunity to play, he does a good job. It's nice to see him get to play.
Jerry Hornett, a graduate of Simon Fraser University, the Roughriders' #1 protected player in 1979, a big fella, 6'3", 260 pounds. I wouldn't be surprised to see Joe Barnes just follow him right up the center, which he does, and he should have the first down.
Quarterback, the ball carrier, Joe Barnes.
As they unpiled them, Bill Mitchell was the bottom man in on that tackle. It is a Saskatchewan first down. Defensively, the Ottawa Roughriders line up like this. They have Marshall, Rain, Simmons, and Seymour in a front four, which they probably will employ. Mitchell, the newcomer, in that linebacking contingent. And they have added Stanton. Randy Rhino was injured in practice this week, and his safety position has been taken by Glenn Cook. Lester Brown on a draw, picking up about 4, maybe 5 yards before being stopped by middle linebacker Eric Mann.
This is the play the Riders feel they have to be able to run if they're going to run the football. They like to sprint out to get the quarterback outside, so this time they just try to start outside and they slip the ball to Lester Brown. He cuts it back to the first opening he can find, and this is the play they feel they must make go if they're going to run successfully.
Second down, Saskatchewan, 2nd and 5. The ball is between the 38 and 39 yards right. Larry Brune came very close picking that up, but Joey Walters was able to make the catch for another first down.
As you see here, Joe Barnes just rolls to his right. He's got a quick out pattern called looking for 5 yards. He throws it in there, and there you go. Larry Brune makes a good defensive play and almost picks it off. Here you look at Joey Walters as he just breaks the 5-yard pattern for the first down. Brune comes up to get the ball. Good defensive play, but when the ball's on the money, you don't stop it.
Very often, it's been the Joey Walters show when the Roughriders have played here at Taylor Field or in any other CFL park for that matter. He is the leading pass receiver in the CFL. Lester Brown found no room inside. He may have picked up about a yard. Rick Sovieta from his linebacking position with help from the middleman, Eric Manns, made the tackle.
They tried to get him overshifted this time with putting 3 receivers to the wide side of the field and then just run back to the short side, hoping Lester can find a crease. But the Ottawa defense on the short side usually will come down and pinch it, and they did that time to stop it.
2nd and 9. Edwards is wide left. Walters up to the right. Barnes throwing short, intended for Joey Walters. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders are forced into a punting situation. Bill Mitchell was covered. Joe Barnes has started 4 games in succession now. He has not finished the last 3. As Ron pointed out at the start of the telecast, John Huffnagel has come on in relief and directed the green and white to a pair of victories, and he almost pulled one off against the defending Grey Cup champions, the Edmonton Eskimos. Bruce Walker and Calvin Kirk are back to accept the third down punt of Ken Clark. He is wearing a cast on his left hand. He suffered a broken finger a week ago against Winnipeg. Walker downed immediately. There is also a penalty flag. Maurice Skullrood was the first to make contact with Walker. It could be a no yards infraction against Saskatchewan.
Ottawa attempted to set up a punt return. This happens and the ball's kicked right down the middle. Skullrood outraced the
Ottawa number 23 holding on the return. First down.
Holding, which is a big plus for Saskatchewan. It gets them 15 more yards of field position.
Well, the penalty was against the Ottawa Roughriders, a holding call against Peter Stenerson. So that moves the football back to the 28. Jordan Case, the Ottawa quarterback, giving to Sam Platt. Right at the line of scrimmage, he is surrounded by 4 Roughriders, led by defensive tackle Doug McIver.
Sam Platt's been their best ball carrier for the last few games, but this time he just couldn't find any running room as Doug McIver came down hard from his end position.
Jordan Case with Platt playing his third game, and Reed, the receivers of the Ottawa Roughriders, including the man who sets a record with every game he plays in which he catches a football, Tony Gabriel. Pat Stokwa has a first down. He goes out of bounds at the 42.
This is a big play for the Ottawa Roughriders. What their problem has been all year is protecting the quarterbacks. Here you see Jordan Case get the time. He sends the inside receiver down the field, breaks to the sideline. Stokwa catches the ball. First down. Ottawa's got good field position now.
He may have picked up a few more yards had he not slipped when he was attempting to make his cut. Jim Reed, the big Canadian fullback, picks up 3. Andre Jones came from his defensive halfback position to make the tackle. We've played 10-16 of the first quarter, and we have a timeout.
Saskatchewan Roughriders.
It's the Ottawa Roughriders in possession, facing a 2nd and 7 play. Bruce Walker goes wide left. Stokwa, the man in motion to the left. And Jordan Case will try and put it in the air, dumping off the screen to Reed. He has a first down caught from behind by Samples, or he may have gone much further.
It's a great pattern right there. He sent his receiver across the formation in motion and then sent the outside receiver to the inside of it. Set up the screen outside, and it was a tremendous block by Val Belcher on Campbell Hackney, and it was a big gainer.
Wozniacki from that left end spot almost got through. With Carl Cronell injured, they've done some juggling in that linebacking crew. Schultz has moved inside, Campbell Hackney outside. Good protection. Case throwing deep, looking for Calvin Kirk. He's got a touchdown. There is a penalty flag, however, back at the line of scrimmage.
You do not throw the football any better than that. You give a little play-action fake into the short side of the field.
Roughing the pass. Saskatchewan number 78. Touchdown is good.
The touchdown will stand as Vince Goldsmith was charged with roughing the passer. Jordan Case laid it into the hands of Calvin Kirk perfectly.
As you see, the play-action fake. Kirk's going deep, and he just lofts it long and high, and Kirk just runs right under it. That's just a very well-executed football play. Ken McEachran and Billy McBride just didn't get deep enough, and Kirk outran him.
Jerry Organ, the second all-time leading scorer in the CFL for the point after. Jeff Avery will hold. It is good. And the Ottawa Roughriders lead Saskatchewan 7-0 with 9:18 left to play in this opening quarter.
As you see right here, Jordan Case is throwing the ball, and who's coming in late? It looks like Goldsmith, and he really hits Jordan Case. The trouble is, it's after the pass is gone, which costs him a roughing call. And these kind of hits, they cause people to retire early, Don. They hurt.
Tony Gabriel was looking back at the play, and he was pointing immediately when Vince Goldsmith hit Jordan Case. Case with his 9th touchdown pass of the season. He has an impressive passing percentage of 63.6%. Jordan Case had something of a slow start with the Ottawa Roughriders. He was off their roster back on a year ago. And this year, they are counting on him to do the job. If he continues to throw them like that, they won't have any worries in the nation's capital.
That was a tremendous throw. You don't throw it any better. He just got it up and laid it up high and let Kirk run to the ball. And with his speed, he was able to get behind the secondary of Saskatchewan and give Ottawa that 7-0 lead right away.
And, of course, because there was a touchdown scored on that roughing infraction, it is tacked on to the kickoff, and Jerry Organ and the Roughriders line up at the Saskatchewan 50-yard line. However, that wind that is blowing out of the west at 22 kilometers per hour is causing some problems. Not quite the same velocity as we experienced last night at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Trying to angle it into the end zone. It is going to roll through the end zone. The Ottawa Roughriders say will scrimmage at the 35. A 25, correct that. Calvin Kirk, for a time, was in the uniform Roughriders. But his one game at Taylor Field was something of a disaster, and I'm sure you recall that one, Ron. He was coaching at the time.
You never forget those guys.
Great figure on the receiving end of the Joe Barnes throw. Very close to a first down. He was caught there by Bill Mitchell.
Initial tackle by 40.
This is Joe Barnes' series where he just comes out of there, reads the linebackers, tries to find an open receiver quick, throw the ball in there. This time he finds Greg Figure in between the linebackers, hits him, first down.
Saskatchewan, 1st and 10. The Western Riders at their own 37. By Glenn Cook.
Excellent play. Good call, Barnes. Barnes rolls to his right. Talbert runs an out pattern to the sideline at about 10, and the defensive halfback comes up, and Walters finds the seam between him and the safety man. It's a dead spot in his zone. There's nothing you can do. Walters comes down. He's trying to read the coverage. He sees the opening. He fits it right into the seam, and it's a hard spot to cover. There are dead spots back there, and he finds one of them.
I think this is something that Joey Walters excels at, is reading defensive sets, and he is able to react. That time, Greg Marshall reacted and dropped Joe Barnes for a loss, but there is a penalty flag on the play. And Joe Barnes is also limping.
Saskatchewan 19 offside, decline.
Neil Payne, the referee, explaining to us that Emmanuel Tolbert was offside on that play.
Barnes rolls to his left. Again, he stops. Now he's looking to the backside. They cover the pattern very well. Greg Marshall comes in from behind, and he puts the hit on Joe Barnes. Good defensive play.
That's 9 quarterback sacks now for Greg Marshall. He's the leader in that category among Ottawa defenders. It's 2nd and 17, Saskatchewan. It was intended for Joey Walters, and Glenn Cook had it in his hands.
Boy, that's a tough one for the Ottawa team because they blitzed the outside backer.
7:26 is the time left in this first quarter. We have a timeout. The Saskatchewan Roughriders facing a 3rd down situation. They trail by 7. Taylor Field filled to capacity, as it has been for every home game of the Roughriders this year. Big kick by Ken Clark. Walker finds a bit of an opening and runs it out to the 20. Marshall Hamilton was the first man downfield, making the tackle for Saskatchewan.
It was a good kick right there. He got it up. It started to turn over and look real pretty, and it got hung up in the wind and came straight down to Walker. He just caught it and looked for the seam right inside and ran it straight up the field and got as much as he could. It was a good kick, good coverage.
The Ottawa Roughriders missing quite a dimension with the injury to Randy Rhino because he has excelled in punt returns this year. Flag is down, and so is the receiver, Sam Platt, in the arms of Andre Jones.
26, Sam Platt, the penalty marker on the play.
Not anything fancy here. He just stands up and tries to hit an open man, and he threw it to the short receiver in the flat.
Saskatchewan number 26, offside, 1st and 5.
Offside call against Saskatchewan. They said 26. I think they may have meant 76. Lyle Wozniacki, because there is no 26 wearing a Saskatchewan uniform.
Could have been 46. They got one of those out there now.
Yes, it could have been. Bernard West has moved into a linebacking position in place of Campbell Hackney. Sam Platt trying to turn the corner. He is brought down at the 25. He got back to the line of scrimmage, and that was all. Mike Samples was pressuring quarterback Jordan Case.
Case rolled to his left and just slipped it into him, and away he came to the backside. But, boy, he was very fortunate to get back to the line of scrimmage. Looks like, I don't know how you're going to figure out what they're going to do over there, but they're doing a lot of drawing. I don't see many people trying to read it.
They have the chalk, but perhaps they've lost the eraser. Down, the quick out on the sidelines to Calvin Kirk. Another first down for Ottawa. They'll place it at the 31.5.
Good call on a 2nd and 5 like that. He's not looking for much. All he wants is the first down to keep that drive alive. You see here, he just takes the ball from center, 2 steps quick, throws that ball to the sideline, a safe throw. Kirk catches it, first down. Otherwise, it's out of bounds, no harm. It's an excellent play.
Breaks the initial tackle. He can run. He has a first down across the 50 to his own 52, stopped by Andre Jones. In his first 2 games, Platt ran for 207 yards.
First down.
Here you see Jordan Case take the ball back to Sam Platt. Sam Platt finds a little seam inside. Kevin Powell does a good job on McIver and allows Sam Platt to get to the opening, and then it's just his ability to run in the open field to make the gain as big as it was.
Ottawa controlling the football in this opening quarter. They lead by 7. They are in position and on the drive at the 50. Draw play with Platt. Good move. Breaking a couple of tackles for another first down. He has impressed, Ronnie.
That's an excellent run right there. It's just a straight draw, no doubt about that. And he gives him the ball. He comes upfield, and he really put a move on Campbell Hackney and made it a big gain. Here it is, the draw. The big hole is there. Hackney's got a shot at him, but the moves of Sam Platt enable him to make the run downfield. That's just excellent moves on his part.
The ball at the 47. Case to the sideline. Gabriel tried to one-hand it. He could not hang on. Gabriel, of course, has the pro football record of catches in 131 consecutive games.
The ball was just delivered a little bit too far. He had the time to throw, but he really wasn't open that well. But he took the chance that if Gabriel doesn't get it, nobody gets it, and he threw it far enough to where he proved his point. Ball fell to the ground, so they don't lose possession. There's no problems with that.
The man in motion, 2nd and 10, Ottawa. Draw play with Jim Reid, the big Canadian fullback. He's got a first down and more to the 30-yard line of Saskatchewan.
Good run by Jim Reid right there. Just another draw play. Here, Case takes the ball, shows drop-back action, hands the ball to Reid. He finds a hole in the middle. He gets a good block in there by the center, and Kevin Powell and the center, Larry Titley, and he springs it for the first down.
Ron, you anticipated that Ottawa would attempt to take advantage of Carl Cornell's absence.
Well, he's stuffed inside him, and he's not in there. It doesn't make a difference.
Quick out to Calvin Kirk, looking for some blocking help. Still on his feet and down the sidelines. He'll score.
Another good effort on Kirk's part. That's a harmless pattern. It's just a screen out there to him, and Kevin Powell got out in front of him and made one block, but he just seemed to run into traffic, bounce off, and go the distance.
Pat Stokely and Kevin Powell were the people who threw those key blocks, as you'll see on the replay.
Case just throws it out to Kirk. His tackle comes out there and makes a halfway block on Dennis and screens him, and then Kirk just runs into the Powell, makes his moves on his own, spins and scores. That's 2 touchdowns for Kirk.
Calvin Kirk with 2 touchdowns in the ball game, and the Ottawa Roughriders have quickly jumped into a big lead. Jerry Organ will try to make it 14-0. He does. 3:26 the time left in the first quarter, and we'll return with the Ottawa Roughrider kickoff right after this. A lot of action on Sports Weekend next Saturday. Live coverage of the 52nd running of the Grey Stakes from Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto, the Canada Games for the physically disabled, and a report on the Calgary Olympic Development Association's bid for the 1988 Winter Olympic Games. That bid will be presented on September 30th in Baden-Baden. Calgary vying to be host along with Cortina, Italy, Stalin, Sweden. Oregon's kickoff goes to Dwight Edwards. Edwards using his speed to get outside of Sutton. Then he runs out of room as he's forced to the sidelines by Calvin Kirk.
We were talking earlier about the speed of Dwight Edwards. He just catches the kickoff and comes up and takes a chance and going to the wide side of the field. I don't think it was set that way. But here's the kickoff to Dwight Edwards. He takes it, starts up the field. He's looking for something, some room to run. Somebody commits outside and doesn't keep him contained, and he turns on the afterburners, and he comes very close to going the distance. It's Calvin Kirk that comes over and finally shoves him out of bounds.
First and 10, Saskatchewan. The ball just shy of the 40-yard line. Barnes to Dwight Edwards. He is hauled down by Eric Manns, the middle linebacker.
Barnes just drops straight back this time, and he takes the ball, just drops right back in, looking to his left. Dwight runs kind of a delay pattern underneath the linebackers, or he comes underneath them. The ball's delivered on the money, and the middle linebacker, Manns, has to make the tackle.
Edwards, as we've pointed out a couple of times, has the blazing speed. He does not have the experience. But with each game, he is showing improvement. This man is always good. Barnes was thumped as he hit Joey Walters. Barnes appears to be hurt. Larry Brune was the man who made the tackle, and it was Eric Manns who hit quarterback Joe Barnes.
I think Joe's hurting a little bit there. He got one heck of a hit right there, and boy, you hate to see that happen. Joe takes the ball. He sprints right a little bit. Makes a tremendous throw. He throws this in the hole. Walters goes up and gets it. Here comes the hit. And he just goes down. I can't really understand what happened unless he turned it.
Well, he was limping earlier in the ball game. The way he went down and just glancing back at the quarterback as he unloaded and looking downfield to the pass receiver, it appeared as though he was hit as Manns came in. However, Manns pulled back. Barnes just seemed to go down. He may have pulled a hamstring or something.
Yeah, he sure did. He didn't really get hit on this play. The defensive man wisely pulled up. It would have been roughing had he hit him. He just pulled up, and Barnes just kind of went to the ground. Whether it's his ankle or leg or what, it's hard to really tell right now. But as you say, he was limping a little bit earlier.
Well, there are fans of all ages at Taylor Field. They were in a party mood at the start of this ball game. However, Jordan Case kind of silenced them in a hurry.
Well, when you go into the opposing team's ballpark, as Ottawa is here today, let's face it, it's a hometown crowd and they're noisy. The only way you quiet them is to put points on the board, and Ottawa took care of that in a hurry with 14 of them.
Well, Joe Barnes in his last 3 starts has been accustomed to going at least half the football game. However, this time he is out and on the sidelines because of an injury, with John Helpnagel, the relief artist, coming in to take over. 2:03 is the time left in the first quarter. Helpnagel will try and throw it. He may have to run. He's chased out of bounds be charged against Eric Manns of Ottawa.
John's first play is to get outside. That's a heck of a play to start with. You know, when you're coming off the bench cold, he runs down the field. Eric Manns just sort of comes over the top of his head. I'm not sure that it was a late hit out of bounds. I think it was unnecessary roughness when he brought his hand down over the back of his head. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, we were saying awesome last night, too, out in Calgary, as that rain came down.
We said a lot of things up there. That was a terrible night to be out.
The Edmonton Eskimos didn't find it that bad. I like Huey Campbell's line at the conclusion of the game. He said, "We're Eskimos, not Sun Devils. We play in everything." Chris DeFrance has a first down at the 10-yard line.
Chris DeFrance is a very underrated receiver, but he's one of a great core of receivers that the Riders have. This time, Hupnagel rolls right. He comes to his right side, gets good blocking, sets, looks back inside, and right in the middle of the zone, there's Chris DeFrance, and he threads the needle. So it gets him in field position, and it'll get things going for him.
Hupnagel fired that one right between the linebackers, Eric Manns and Rick Sovieta. And goal from the 10-yard line. Hupnagel in zone, touchdown, Joey Walters.
Nothing to it. That made that look awful easy. That'll get this crowd going, and that'll give the Riders a big lift that they need. John Hupnagel just comes out of there and finds his favorite receiver in the end zone. Joey Walters has an unbelievable ability of getting open down the field, man coverage. He just makes the move and goes to the inside. Nobody back there because of the blitzing situation. He's all alone in the end zone, and that's just a great move. It's not much you can do about it. Here he is again. He just makes a move outside, drives back inside, and the ball's there.
Well, this is the time of year when a lot of the nominators across the country begin thinking of the Shenley Awards. And Joey Walters is certainly, I would think, going to be a candidate, at least on the initial ballot out of Saskatchewan. The point after by Watson, and the Ottawa lead is cut in half with 56 seconds remaining in the opening quarter.
He's had a sensational season. The problem with Joey in the other years, he sells himself out so much, he picked up these injuries that would nag him and slow him down. This year he has stayed healthy, and he has done everything that they can ask him to do and more. Well, this crowd certainly is excited. They got the pom-poms waving. Now, for Ottawa to get the momentum back, they got to get this crowd quiet, and they've got to move the football.
At one time, I thought I knew all the Roughriders songs. They must have some composers in this city.
Every year. I think the words to this song were written by Steve Mazurk.
Is that right?
Yes, they were. And his wife wrote them. It's kind of a catchy tune, and the Riders right now have a lot of songs. They got everything going for them. They've done a heck of a job. Sean Quinlan and the marketing people, it's tremendous.
They've got a song for every situation.
You bet. You name it, they'll find another one for it if they don't.
Watch the message board now for the Safeway touchdown ball. Check your location.
Platt and Kirk are back to receive the kick by Paul Watson. He bounced it. It got away from Stokwa. The Roughriders having trouble finding the handle, and they finally scoop it up with Park pouncing on it at the 25.
It looked like it should have happened last night in the rain, the way that ball was sliding around there. 3 different people had a shot of it, and finally it came back to the guy that originally touched it.
Jordan Case has directed 2 long marches, producing touchdowns for the Ottawa Roughriders. 51-yard strike to Calvin Kirk. Then another touchdown throw, 31 yards to the same man. Sam Platt has about 5 as he squirts inside.
Just a straight ahead handoff to Platt. They're running right at that linebacker, and that's the linebacking position where Carl Cornell usually lines up. And when you take a hitter out of there like Cornell, they're going to test him.
The Ottawa Roughriders forced to make one change defensively. Glenn Cook, the man you're looking at, moving to the inside safety position with Randy Rhino injured. They also activated Greg Grimes for this game to take Rhino's spot in the roster. Case in trouble. Gets away, throws complete. Calvin Kirk again. He has a first down. And Ron, I think you must relate the story about Calvin Kirk when he wore the uniform of Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it's strange. You know, we got Calvin from Calgary, and he comes in here in the first game. He fumbles a punt, drops 3 passes in his hand, and we unfortunately had to let him go. And he went back to Calgary and come back, caught a punt, and ran 65 yards for a touchdown against us.
And now he's got 2 touchdowns this afternoon. Has been a star for Ottawa. The first quarter has ended. Ottawa leads Saskatchewan 14-7. Along with Ron Lancaster at Taylor Field in Regina, the start of the second quarter, and Calvin Kirk could not hang on to the throw from Jordan Case.
Jordan Case this time had just a quick slant pattern thrown to Calvin Kirk, and I think the problem was Bernard West, the linebacker, came in there and got up in his face, and he couldn't throw the ball in front of him. It got behind him.
Well, Gaynor Gopher has helped this afternoon at Taylor Field. They brought in the San Diego Chickens, and he is probably echoing the sentiments of a lot of fans at various times in the ball game. However, the officials do take a lot of abuse. Most of the time, however, they are right in their calls.
Yeah, the replays usually show that they're usually on top of it. They do a good job. And second down, they just went for a drop-back pass, a little bit of motion to try to confuse the defense, throws a screen pass to Reed. Reed gets outside, but it's played very well, and coming from the back, and Mike Samples comes back behind it, along with Goldsmith, and makes a tackle and forces them to give up the ball.
Third down kicking situation. First time the Ottawa Roughriders have been forced to punt in this ball game. Stu Fraser and Joey Walters are back to receive this third down kick. Oregon has a punting average of 42.5 yards. Walters will take it at the 27. He is out to the 37, stopped by Tim Hook.
Good coverage. The Ottawa defense, the punt cover team was down there. Joey just found the seam and headed upfield, got what he could. The coverage was good. Now the Saskatchewan club has to take over. You know, we were talking about Calvin Kirk. Maybe he likes to play in Taylor Field, but not wearing green. I don't know.
I think you hit the solution right there. John Hufnagel, who replaced the injured Joe Barnes late in the first quarter, directing Riders to a touchdown. There's the signals again, giving to Lester Brown. He got back to the line of scrimmage and then was stopped by Ron Simmons.
That was good defensive play, just a straight draw play to Lester Brown.
Hamilton this afternoon defeating Winnipeg 25-13. The Tiger Cats already assured of a playoff berth, and they have added to their league-leading Eastern Conference total. Winnipeg now in somewhat desperate straits to catch a playoff berth in the West. Being chased by Raines. He gets away from him. Now being pursued by Simmons. Simmons hauls him down. And that's something that Bob Ovilovich was telling us today, Ron. The Roughriders, with the changes they have made in their roster, have improved their team's speed, and he talked about the quickness of Simmons. We saw evidence of that on that play.
Well, he showed it right there. As
Lots of 11 on the play. It'll be
John Hufnagel is going to roll to his right. He's going to look to the backside to Joey Walters, who was knocked down on the play. There's nowhere to throw. The pressure comes. He starts to scramble, picks up a couple blocks, but Simmons shows great speed for a defensive lineman, and he runs the quarterback down from behind. That is excellent speed.
Ken Clark stands at his own 12. Good third down kick. Walker getting outside, looking for a couple of blocks. He slips and falls at the 38, gets back up, and gets out to the 49. Nobody touched him when he went down, so he is entitled to get back up and continue on.
It's a good by Bruce Walker. The ball comes to him. He just runs with it.
32.
You'll see him coming to the wide side of the field. He's looking for anything, looking for a hole to cut up through. Gets to the outside. As he plans to come back to the inside, he slips. And right there, they fail to touch him. And he comes right back up running.
First and 10. Ottawa at the 49. Case looking to the sideline. Almost picked it off. He was trying to take it away from Walker.
That was an excellent defensive play by Billy McBride. It seems like teams like to go after him. Here, Jordan Case takes the ball, a little play-action fake, tries to roll outside. Walker gives him a move deep and then turns to the sideline, and McBride's right all over him like a glove, and he almost goes for 6 the other way.
Billy McBride has 2 interceptions this season.
Billy McBride was a basketball player in college, Don. He didn't play football till his senior year.
Draw play with Jim Reed. Reed first down into the Saskatchewan 47.
Good call by Jordan Case. Jim Reed on the drop play. Gets good blocking by Titley, Belcher, and Inglis, and those boys up front. They're the guys that are going to get you to the secondary. He makes a couple good moves and ends up getting that first down.
Well, 2 big drives by the Ottawa Roughriders. Most of Saskatchewan's total came in that 1 touchdown march, directed by John Hufnagel. First and 10. Flat. Across the 40, stopped at the 39.
This Ottawa offense is a very, very difficult offense to defense from the standpoint of they love to sprint out, roll out, and all that action. This time it starts out like all the other plays. Platt gets the handoff, comes up through the line behind Larry Titley, finds a hole, picks up about 8 yards. They're very difficult to defense, Jordan Case.
A gain of 8 at 2nd and 2. An ex-BC Lion traded to Ottawa this year. Defensive end Doug Seymour looking on from the Ottawa bench as the offensive unit has the ball. Penalty flag is down. Sam Platt will have the first down, but it could be procedure against Tony Gabriel.
Yeah, Tony, you know, most of the inside receivers likes to take those couple quick steps of motion outside. This time he faked them and come back in the block.
Ottawa 77, illegal procedure, 2nd down over.
It will be a repeat of 2nd down, but now it's 2nd and 7.
You can see it very plain here if you can get it in there. Tony Gabriel just comes down and jumps off on the left side in a hurry to make his block. He's in a hurry to make a good block from that guy.
Silkla in motion to his left. Applying pressure. Case is tackled. There is also a penalty flag. Lionel Wisniewski was the man who brought Jordan Case down.
The people love that little dance Waz does after his sacks. And right here, there's going to be a holding call on this one. You can bet on it. They come with the blitz. If you look in the middle of the screen, here comes Schultz coming right up the middle clean. That forces Case out of the pocket. Wisniewski turns him back in like he should to help those people inside make the tackle, but he ends up making it by himself. He was being held on the play, and there's not much you can do about it. You got to protect that quarterback.
Lyle Wisniewski, now with his 4th CFL team. He started with Winnipeg, went to Calgary. Last year he was with Hamilton. He came to Saskatchewan this year.
3rd down and 13.
And he has now sacked the opposition quarterback 10 times. Partially blocked. Scrambling for that football. Don Swafford was the man who got it.
Swafford's a fine athlete, Don. He was a tight end in college, but he got too big, and he comes through there, and with his jumping ability, he got his hands on the ball. Here, Oregon goes through, comes west, and there goes Swafford just over the top, and he gets the ball.
So Saskatchewan will have a first down at their own 38 when we return. Williams on CFL in Action will be along with the highlights of last night's games. And Ron Lancaster will have a look at a lot of highlights from the first half of this afternoon's game. 14-7 is the score. Ottawa leading Saskatchewan. Hufnagel throwing. It's incomplete. In and out of the arms of Joey Walters, and he doesn't drop too many when he has a shot at them.
No, that was a good defensive play by Larry Bruin. 3 receivers to one side of the field on the wide side, and you'll see John Hufnagel go back in the pocket. He looks to the 3 receiver side, reads his zone. Joey turns and hooks, and you'll see Larry Bruin come in and get his hand on it and knock it down. Joey won't drop it, but it's a good defensive play by Larry Bruin.
You saw the reaction, too, of Joey Walters pointing to the official, asking why there was no flag in the play. However, it was a good defensive move by Bruin. Diego putting it in the air again to the sidelines for Walters off his fingertips. He was trying to keep his feet in bounds and reach out for that ball, and it just slid off the tips of his fingers.
Emmanuel Talbert went deep on the play to take the defensive halfback as far downfield to give Joey room to work on the sideline. But I think that Huffnagel expected him to turn up the field, and Joey stayed to the sideline. Therefore, it's just an incomplete pass, and they're going to have to punt it away.
Ken Clark standing at his own 25 to launch this third down kick. Fielded by Calvin Kirk at the 28. Kirk cuts back inside and gets out to the 38-yard line. A run back of 10. Neil Quilter was there to make the tackle.
It was a good punt that time, Kirk. They had the return set up to this side, but he just was unable to get to the wall because of the coverage team and the Riders got down on top of him in a hurry. Ottawa's moved the ball really well. They've got the Rider defense, Saskatchewan Roughriders, that is, off balance a little bit. They're going to have to make some adjustments.
Passing play, Jordan Case flipping it out to Sam Platt for a gain of almost 10. This is the first glimpse I've had of Sam Platt. I've been impressed with what I've seen, particularly of his running skills.
He's got a lot of moves on that one. He's a safety release. They're trying to throw the short ones, take what they give him, don't get greedy, and he made excellent moves, picked up a block from Gabriel. As you see, he was looking for the look-in pattern when he went out. He's covered, so they have to go to the safety valve.
First down.
It is a first down, Ottawa. 8:13 is the time left in the half.
Tony Gabriel looks for the ball. He's not open, so right away he turns up, makes a pretty good block on a linebacker, and then tries to look for Tom Schultz, and that enables Platt to have room to run.
Gabriel actually got 2 blocks in, one on Campbell Hackney and another on Tom Schultz. Inside with Platt fighting for 4, maybe 5 yards. Stopped by Campbell Hackney.
Just off the sprint action again, and Platt's going to come to the backside looking for a hole. The Rider defense did a good job of closing it down to 4 yards.
Ottawa attempting to take advantage of the absence of Carl Cornell. Last week, suffering a slight concussion in a victory over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Over the middle to Sam Platt for a first down at the 42 of Saskatchewan. Andre Jones was there to make the tackle. 7:22 is the time left to play in this first half. The Ottawa Roughriders lead Saskatchewan by 7.
All right, football fans, program number.
Jordan Case has done quite a job in directing that Ottawa attack so far in this ball game. He appears to have Ottawa on the move again. First down at the Saskatchewan 42. Case to the sideline. Stokely has it out of bounds at the 35.
Just steps back in the pocket and throws a slant toward the sidelines to Stokely. Easy pattern. As you'll see, he'll step back. Only 3 steps, so he'll throw it quick. There's the throw. Stokely makes the catch. On top of him is the defender. Gives them about a 5 or 6 yard gain.
Jordan Case, graduate of North Texas State. Signed by Ottawa as a free agent. All but 3 of his pass attempts so far today. Again, Sam Platt works inside. Campbell Hackney making the tackle, but I don't believe he stopped him before he picked up a first down. Sam Platt, number 26, coming to Ottawa via Florida State and the Dallas Cowboys. It was at Florida State that he broke a record held by Larry Keys, and all CFL fans are familiar with the running skills of this outstanding British Columbia back who played his college ball at Florida State. Another newcomer to the Ottawa football team, Bill Mitchell. They say he is a tremendously hard hitter, a punishing tackler. First and 10, Ottawa. Good fake by Jordan Case. He's being pursued, tries to turn in front of Goldsmith, and Goldsmith was having none of it.
They came back with exactly the same play they ran before, only this time Jordan Case just didn't give him the football, and he came on a naked bootleg all by himself out here. And Vince Goldsmith made a good play staying at home along with Bobby Hosea. He did have Bruce Walker downfield if he could have got open, but Steve Dennis stayed with him man-to-man.
A loss of 2 at 2nd and 12. Walker goes wide to the right. Calvin Kirk splits left. Incomplete, intended for Walker on the sidelines. A 3rd down situation and perhaps a field goal attempt by Jerry Organ.
Case rolled to his right. He's trying to get that out pattern again on Billy McBride out there, but they were in man coverage, and McBride again was pretty close to him, and the ball was delivered low. And it was a very tough catch to make, and Bernard West, I think, had a lot to do with that because he got up in Jordan Case's face, and that causes a problem when you can't see him.
As you see, Jerry Organ hasn't missed many this season.
He never does he?
No, he certainly doesn't. That's why he's the 2nd all-time leading scorer in the CFL, 2nd only to Edmonton's great Dave Cutler. It's good. And Ottawa now has a 10-point lead.
He's a very, very accurate place kicker. Anywhere from 40 yards in, he doesn't miss very often. And when you see him kick the ball, you think sometimes he doesn't have the leg to kick a real long one, but he's kicked them over 50 yards, up on his 55 yards. And when you kick him that far, you're a good field goal kicker.
And the Ottawa Roughriders were delighted when Jerry Organ reversed his decision of 1978. He packed it in for one season, but decided to come back. He has made his contribution to the Ottawa offense.
He'll probably only kick 6 or 7 more years.
I think George Brancato put on more miles on those sidelines during the course of a game than any coach in the league.
He keeps the ice business going, I'll tell you that. That's all he does is eat ice.
I don't think he'd have been eating too much over at Calgary's McMahon Stadium last night.
He's quite a guy, I'll tell you. He's a great person.
Very few people probably realize that you and he played together.
You betcha. My first season in the league, and when I was with Ottawa, George was a member of that football team, and we were teammates there.
Very few people probably realize either that your name is in the Ottawa Roughrider record book.
Where it's least expected, yes.
You threw an awful lot of interceptions during your career, but you also made 3 interceptions as a defensive back with Ottawa. Out to the 45-yard line goes Dwight Edwards. Pretty good field position for Saskatchewan.
Excellent field position, and 4 minutes left in the half. You know, the Riders need to get something going a little bit. Ottawa's really controlled the football game. Jordan Case has done one heck of a job of moving that football team. He's got them off balance. He seems to be able to read the blitzes, and now it's Saskatchewan's turn to see what they can do.
This is certainly not the same Ottawa team that started the season.
No, it isn't. These guys are playing with a lot of confidence now, and boy, I'll tell you, they got good athletes, and when you're playing with confidence, you'll win.
4-man rush, the pass incomplete. Edwards was the intended receiver on the sideline. Jerome Stanton had given him a lot of room. I think that's a wise decision.
I would say it's a very wise decision. I think people realize that, at least in the league, how fast Dwight Edwards is. I'm not sure people, the fans ordinarily understand, but Dwight never seems to run at full speed until he absolutely has to. But when he turns them on, he can really fly.
Well, Joe Farragelli said just before the game in our conversation with him, he has never seen any player accelerate quicker.
Well, I would believe that.
Hofnagel throwing it up for Walters. He can't catch it.
Hofnagel's pass. This play right here, Don, is what Joe was talking about before the game, that the quarterbacks with Joey Walters have a great rapport. They know exactly where he's going to be. As you see, John goes, they get a double blitz right up the middle. He's running a flag pattern, and John has enough confidence to just lay the ball down the field, and Joey's going to go get it.
Another stride or two, and he might have gone for 6.
You betcha. That's that's great rapport. When you can get that feeling between the quarterback and the receiver, you really have something. And as he's leading the league in catches, you can see it's there.
Well, the cast on his left hand doesn't seem to be causing any problems for punter Ken Clark. Walker fields it at the 15. He's down to the 23 by Marshall Hamilton.
a heck of an effort there by Don Swafford also, because that Ottawa looked like it was going to get that wall set up. You'll see the punt come down, and the wall is going to be set to the right, just where he's running, and you'll see a lot of white shirts there. He tries to cut in, and all of a sudden Marshall Hamilton gets him from behind, and Swafford makes the save on him, or he gets behind that wall. He can go a long way.
First down, that's a 23. Jordan Case to the sideline. Walker goes out of bounds. A gain of just 2.
Just a quick out pattern, looking to get 5 and 6 on first down. They want to stay out of that second and long situation. I believe the stats show that Ottawa's given up something like 48 quarterback sacks this year, and when you've got a young team as they have there, you've got to be working toward that goal all the time and protect that quarterback. So throw quick, keep them off balance, run, sprint out, and jog, and that's what Jordan Case is doing.
Kirk wide right, Walker to the left, Stoke with a man in motion. The lone setback is Reed. Case in trouble. He runs away from it, looking for a block, and at the sidelines he is going to be close to a first down.
Good athletic ability right here. Vince Goldsmith put a lot of heat on him, and he got free to the wide side of the field, and he just ran as hard as he could.
2:55, the time remaining in the half. Let's pause for a minute.
In the pocket to throw, Vince Goldsmith puts a heck of a rush on him. He eludes him. Here comes McIver. Case is outside. He's going to go for the first down, and as all quarterbacks, he just lowers his head and gets that final yard. What do you think?
Well, seeing as how you said it, I'll accept. Jim Reed to the 40-yard line. On first down, a gain of 7.
Good run by Jim Reed here. There's not really a big hole for him to run through there, but he just finds a little bit of a crease and kind of leaps through it, and all of a sudden he's into the secondary. Here it comes. He's coming right at you. He just takes it, cuts back to the inside, jumps over the guys on the ground, and gets into the secondary for 7 yards. That's a well-run play. He's doing a good job.
Peter Stennerson looking on from the sideline as Case barks out the signal. 2nd and 3. Intended for Kirk, incomplete.
Just threw it behind him on a slant pattern. Kirk just went to the inside, and Jordan just released it a little bit behind him, and that's a very difficult catch for any receiver to make. Tell you what, Don, I've been very impressed. You know, the coaches from Ottawa were telling us today that, you know, they've had some problems with their offensive line. They're young. They've made a lot of changes, but I'll tell you, they've done a good job this afternoon.
They prepared them well for this football game, and Jordan Case has called quite a game and executed to perfection as well.
That's always a big plus when the quarterback understands the game plan, right?
Indeed.
And then executes it.
Jerry Organ's 3rd down kick. Fraser had difficulty in fielding it. Penalty flags go down as Fraser breaks free. He fumbles the football. It's recovered by Ottawa. Now let's see what those penalty infractions were all about. Let's listen to referee Neil Payne. Clipping the call against Saskatchewan.
I think they'll probably take the football.
Saskatchewan 62 clipping on the return, decline. Ottawa first down.
Stu Fraser has a little bit of trouble handling this punt. He's usually pretty sure-handed. He just comes up through there, shakes off this tackle, can't seem to find a clip in there anyway. He does get some running room and cuts it back to the outside. He's making some ground and come down over the top. He takes a pretty good hit there, and the ball rolls free, and Ottawa would rather have the football than give him 15 yards.
Al Johns was the man who hit Ian Ward in the numbers in the back, producing the clipping call. Intended for Tony Gabriel, just out of his reach.
That's a pattern right there. You have to stop when you play Ottawa. How many years has it been since the quarterback Ottawa just comes out real quick and hits Tony Gabriel on that quick, flat pattern, and he turns it upfield and makes big yards, and this time it's just a little bit too far.
At 6'4", 207, Gabe is a rather imposing target, isn't he?
He's not a bad size for a receiver, I'll tell you.
Good chicken, Brian.
The draw play was Sam Platt. Almost a first down. In fact, he may have it. Bobby Hosea was the man who finally arrested his forward advancement.
2nd and 10, start to sprint to the wide side of the field, and then he just hand back, and he comes back weak side.
One of the officials was injured on the play. He was involved with several of the players in a collision.
Going to have to measure this one. That's a good run by Platt right there. He comes back around the end as it looked like they're going to roll to the wide side, and then they just hand him the ball, and he comes back, and he had, I think it was Val Belchers who it looked like to me, he threw a real good block for him to enable him to pick up some extra yards.
You see the signal from Tony.
About a yard shy of the first down. The short yardage unit comes in.
George was telling Joe Moss, wow, I think we can make this.
1:53 the time left to play in this first half. Glassford comes into the ball game. John Park comes into the game as well. 3rd and a yard for Ottawa. The way they've been running the ball, one would think that they should be able to pick up this yard. Movement at the line of scrimmage. John Park carried. He has the first down, but let's wait and see what the penalty is. I think it's against Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan 78 offside. First down.
Vince Goldsmith was the man who moved in advance of the ball being centered.
In that short yardage defense, Vince Goldsmith moves to the inside to a defensive tackle position. He did play that in college, but it's not an unfamiliar position for him.
1:34 the time left in the half. The ball is at the Saskatchewan 49. 1st and 10 Ottawa. Tony Gabriel gets his pass to keep his string alive at 132 games.
Just a quick out pattern. It took everybody and their brother to bring him down back there. He was dragging him around. You'll see Jordan Case here just takes the ball, steps back, got Gabriel on the quick out, makes the delivery right on the money. Tony turns upfield. Andre Jones hits him. Billy McBride hits him, and he's still going. And there Campbell Hackney comes in over the top, and he's finally down. That's heck of an effort by Gabriel.
Gabriel, of course, 7 years in an Ottawa uniform. A 5-time Shenley Award winner.
Doesn't matter how long he plays for Ottawa. I only remember one catch he made that I'll never forget.
Yes, I think you would vividly recall that one.
You betcha. He's standing in the back of CNE Stadium in the end zone all by himself with 11 seconds left in a Grey Cup and beat us. You don't forget those.
1976. Again to the 35-yard line with a minute and 10 showing on the scoreboard clock.
This running play that Ottawa's been running is more or less just a power play. You know, they're pulling they pulled Kevin Powell, they pulled Malcolm Inglis, and they're just trying to bull their way off, tackle. And if you notice, every time they've run it, it's been on the short side of the field. As you see here, Platt takes the ball. Here comes 59, Inglis coming around. Here comes Kevin Powell, and he just gets behind those two big linemen, and they get him into the secondary.
It's time to pitch to Platt, looking for some blocking help. He gets down to the 31-yard line. Glenn Cook playing the safety spot, as we mentioned earlier, in place of the injured Randy Rhino.
I'll tell you one thing, when you're missing a heck of a football player when Randy Rhino's out of that offense or at defensive secondary, but those special teams even more.
42 seconds now remain in the first half. It's 2nd and 7 Ottawa. There appears to be a mix-up. Jordan Case is down at the 35. It looked as though he wanted to give to Jim Reed, but missed him.
Yeah, that's going to happen sometimes, and when it does, he did the wise thing. He tried to escape it, but when you got all those green shirts around, you better hit the deck. Here he comes back. Looks like he expected Jim Reed to be on the other side of him, and when he was a little bit surprised when he got by him and didn't see him, so he just held on, and he takes his lumps as any good quarterback will.
So Jerry Organ will try for 3.
Well, they're in his range. He can make them from here. 47, 21 seconds left.
When you found yourself in that position, you nimbly avoided those would-be tacklers.
And ran to the sideline.
Oregon's kick is wide. Dwight Edwards got out of the end zone once. He's out again, but goes out of bounds at the 5-yard stripe.
That's a good play by Dwight Edwards right there.
There's also a penalty flag in the play with just 1 second remaining in the half.
That's a good play with 1 second left. Well, you don't want to give him a single point, so he's going to get that thing out of there at any cost, and he did.
The injured player is Beckstead. Ian Beckstead down on the field. Beckstead, a graduate of the Ottawa Sooners, and at the Saskatchewan bench, Joe Barnes, who was injured in the first quarter. He has a bruised hip, we are informed. However, should he be required, he is ready to go back into the ball game.
Joe Barnes is a very tough individual physically. He can absorb a lot of punishment and still play.
And he took a lot of punishment in that first quarter as well. The final play of the half, barring penalty. Lester Brown stopped right at the line of scrimmage, and that ends the first half. The Ottawa Roughriders leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders by 10. Stay tuned for our halftime show.
Empire Stadium in Vancouver. The BC Lions waste no time in the first minute of play. Heckler blocks Zenon Andrusicyan's punt from the 7-yard line, setting up the opening touchdown. To the left side, number 11, Larry Key, the first of 3 touchdowns he would score against winless Toronto. The Argonauts did show some promise early in the game. Condridge Holloway, a long pass to Martin Cox, 58-yard touchdown, the first for Toronto in a long time, and to many people's surprise, the game is tied at 8. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Joe Paupow to Pancratz, wide open, cuts back for the BC touchdown. Lions led at halftime. In the second half, BC turns it into a rout, wide open, 27-yard reception, Tyrone Gray. The touchdown, again, Paupow passing former Argo Al Sharuk. Good reception in traffic for the Vancouver touchdown. The Lions are just beginning. Larry Key from Paupow is second of the game, and the BC fans love it. However, Tom Hutsmith now knows how Willie Wood has suffered this year in Toronto. And to make it really hurt, Paupow gambling on a 3rd down to Larry Key, his 3rd touchdown of the game. BC Lions win. They are 8-3. The winless Argos 0-11. From the sunshine and clear skies of Vancouver to the rain, cold, and wind of Calgary's McMahon Stadium. The Edmonton Eskimos' first offensive series. Moon passing to Scott. They are stopped. The interception in the end zone by Napoleon Ingram. However, Edmonton too good to keep off the scoreboard. Their second possession. Warren Moon goes back, looks to the end zone, wide open. Waddell Smith, his 6th touchdown of the year. Second quarter with the wind at their backs. Ken Johnson replacing starting quarterback Bruce Threadgill. It's James Sykes on a screen play. Joe Holloman will get back into the play to help Mike McLeod with a tackle. However, the Edmonton Eskimos were able to stop the Stampeders after that big game, Calgary managing only a single point. The picture describes the playing conditions late in the second quarter. Gary Hayes has difficulty, and you can see why, with a wet football when hit by Frank Kosick, and the Stampeders get excellent field position. With Ken Johnson and Tom Forzani combining, Calgary scores on a 3rd down gamble all alone. Forzani from the end zone, 13-9, halftime for Edmonton. 4th quarter, Jim Germany inside, cuts back outside. That touchdown gives the Edmonton Eskimos a 21-10 lead. Any hopes of a Calgary comeback were wiped out when Ken McLeod makes the interception, one of 3 interceptions by Edmonton during the game. Powerful Eskimos continue to roll in this 1981 season. They win it last night, their 9th win. They are now 9-1-1. And that's week number 12 in the CFL.
Ron Lancaster, I think you'd agree that the Ottawa Roughriders deserve to be in front by 10 on the basis of first half play.
Oh, they certainly do. They're well prepared. We know, talking to the coaches earlier today, that they felt they could do some things to this Rider team, and they've gone out there and done it. And I think Jordan Case has executed his game plan just about the way any coach would want it done, and their defense have done an exceptional job of keeping Saskatchewan off the scoreboard.
Well, the first two times they had the football, the Ottawa Roughriders were able to drive for touchdowns directed by Jordan Case.
Jordan Case here just gives a little play-action fake to Sam Platt. He drops back. He's got Kelvin Kirk going deep, and he just lost a beautiful pass that you can't throw any better, and Kelvin Kirk just runs away from the secondary, drops it in his hands, and Ottawa gets off to a 7-0 lead. That is an excellent throw, as well as executed as well as anybody's. They come right back on the next drive, and they hand off to Sam Platt. He's from Dallas, and he's averaging 5 yards a carry. It's just a little draw play, but he does all this on some great moves. Once the linemen get him into the secondary, he does the rest by himself. Just an excellent runner. Second Ottawa touchdown. Just a quick screen out to Kelvin Kirk again. You'll notice Kevin Powell coming out there to help. He walls Steve Dennis to the inside. Pat Stokely makes a block for him, and he's free down the sidelines. It's very well executed. Ottawa definitely deserves that 17-7 lead. Following a kickoff, or following a touchdown on the next kickoff, Dwight Edwards comes out. He looks for the hole up the middle, can't see it, breaks to his outside, and with his tremendous speed, he does turn the corner. He gets hit and gets forced out of bounds, but not before he almost breaks a touchdown. An excellent kickoff return by Dwight.
And then John Huffnagel came on in relief of the injured Joe Barnes, and he put 6 on the board, Saskatchewan.
Well, he stands in here under the Ottawa blitz. He's got Joey Walters one-on-one down the field. Joey gives an outside move, goes to the inside, and anybody can see it's 20 yards in the open, and anybody can throw those passes. Nice play. Something you don't see too often that coaches don't like anyway. Don Swafford comes in, gets a heck of a rush, and with his athletic ability jumps over the top of the blocker and blocks the punt to give Saskatchewan excellent field position.
However, Saskatchewan was unable to take advantage of that block punt by Don Swafford. Ottawa kicked a field goal in the second quarter, and a 17-7 lead is enjoyed by Ottawa over Saskatchewan, and we'll be back with the continuation of our halftime show right after this. 17-7, Ottawa leads Saskatchewan in this battle of the Roughriders before a full house at Taylor Field in Regina. In the first half, the Eastern Riders had the statistical edge as well over the Western Riders. A pretty good ground game. And Ronnie, I think even though Saskatchewan, prior to the game, really somewhat reluctant to admit it, they do miss Carl Cornell.
Well, it's been a very difficult thing to run on Saskatchewan this season, and Ottawa has 116 yards in the first half. But when you're missing a linebacker out of there that's got the physical size and the capabilities of Carl Cornell, it's definitely going to take away from your defense, and Ottawa's taking advantage of it.
Ottawa has defended fairly well against the pass as well, and they have compiled some impressive passing statistics themselves. But let's take a look at those first half statistics. A big edge in first downs for Ottawa, and that rushing total with Sam Platt doing the most of the work with some assistance from Jim Reed. And then in the passing department, Jordan Case with 180 yards, hitting on 12 of 18 attempts. John Huffnagel and Joe Barnes were able to complete just 8 of 14 for Saskatchewan. So in terms of total offense, quite a discrepancy between the amount Ottawa has compiled and that of Saskatchewan. Joey Walters, the favorite target of Saskatchewan quarterbacks, he has their touchdown and now has increased his league-leading total to 58 receptions. And for the Ottawa Roughriders, Calvin Kirk has been the main man on the throwing end.
He sure has. He's had a fine afternoon. He's caught 2 touchdowns, and that's, any receiver loves to catch touchdowns, and I'm sure he's elated as the whole Ottawa team should be right now. I really believe Jordan Case has taken the ball and controlled the line of scrimmage, controlled that Saskatchewan defense, kept the ball away from that high-flying Saskatchewan machine, and as a result, they definitely have earned their 17-7 lead.
Well, the Ottawa Roughriders prepared for Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan anticipated that they would stay in that 4-man front, and basically that's what they have done.
Yes, and they've made some changes, and they've increased that overall team speed that Coach Francato was talking about earlier this morning, and it's definitely made a big improvement in their football club. They're not the same team that they were early in the year.
A 10-point advantage for the Ottawa Roughriders, and we'll be back with the second half of this afternoon's football game from Taylor Field in just a moment. Barnes started the ball game for Saskatchewan, but bruised his hip in the first quarter. However, he has indicated that if called upon, he is ready to return in the second half this afternoon. Dave Cutler padded his total atop the scoring race in that victory by Edmonton over Calgary last evening. Lou Pasaglia also had a big night in BC's conquest of the so far winless Toronto Argonauts. And this afternoon, Bernie Ruoff picked up some points as Hamilton beat Winnipeg 25-13. And on our post-game show, we will show you the highlights of that Hamilton-Winnipeg game. Larry Key continues to lead the rushing derby. James Sykes of Calgary is second, and Jim Germany in third spot. A tough evening for running last night at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. The big ground gainer in that victory by Edmonton over the Stampeders was Neil Lumsden. The Carling O'Keefe offensive star of the game. He picked up 74 yards. And on our post-game show this afternoon, the offensive and defensive stars of the game for the Carling O'Keefe Award will also be chosen. Jerry Organ's kickoff to start the second half to Emmanuel Tolbert. Down to the 25-yard line. Tackled by Bill Mitchell.
That's excellent kick coverage by Mitchell. They were telling us today that he's got excellent speed and that he is a hitter. Well, he showed it on this kickoff cover team. He came down the field and made the tackle in a hurry, and he puts Ottawa or Saskatchewan on their 25-yard line.
28,335 spectators in attendance at Taylor Field, the second largest crowd ever to witness a football game in Regina. Outnagle, in relief in that second quarter, had some problems hitting on just 2 of 6 passing attempts, one of them for a touchdown. He starts off the second half in better form, finding Dwight Edwards for a first down to the 40-yard line.
Good throw by John. He got the Greg Fieger goes in motion out of there, and he just goes to make the third receiver on that sign, and then John just sits back there and takes a look at it, and he finds Dwight Edwards. As you see, John's back here. He's just reading the coverage. He finds Dwight Edwards standing on the sideline, so he throws him the football. It's an easy game. Just play pitch and catch.
It's easy for you to say.
It's easy to say from up here, none. Don't have any blitz and linebackers coming.
Flag is down at the sidelines intended for Tolbert, and when you see that penalty flag in the offensive backfield, it's usually a holding infraction.
Those are the kind of throws quarterbacks hate to make. He was going to throw a quick out to the wide side of the field, and he's...
Saskatchewan 65, holding.
And as John Hufnagel came to roll to the wide side to get outside to get the good delivery, the Ottawa defense did a good job and shut it down. Now that forced him to pull up and throw in a hurry because you don't want to be late on a quick out or it's 6 the other way. And it's just one of those things. It looks terrible when it happens, but the defense does the job and prevents it.
Neil Quilter, the UBC grad, was the man nailed for the holding infraction by the officials. It's now 1st and 20. Dwight Edwards. A gain of 15. Stopped by Eric Manns.
What they're seeing a lot of is a zone defense, and that means that in the way Ottawa's playing it, there's 4 people deep, 4 of the linebackers underneath, and then the receivers find the holes. You see the linebackers dropping back out of there. That's the underneath coverage, and Dwight Edwards curls back. Hufnagel finds the open man and delivers the ball on time, and they're either going to drop those linebackers back to give them underneath coverage, or they'll blitz the quarterback hoping to force an interception, and when they do, then they're one-on-one. But this time it's a zone.
Quite often move Larry Brune up into a 4-4-4 set, don't they, from his secondary spot?
Right, they've been doing that for years.
Over the middle, complete once again. Chris DeFrance, his first catch of the afternoon.
That's an excellent catch because he arrived at the same time the defender did. As you see right here, Hufnagel's back. He delivers the ball, and the ball arrives just about the same time Grimes arrives, and bang, he hangs on, and it's a good hit. It's a good, very well executed both ways.
Well, the Roughriders have recovered from that holding infraction. They faced the 1st and 20 situation. They picked up the 20 yards. It's now 1st and 10 Saskatchewan. They are at their own 52. Complete again to DeFrance. He appeared to have the first down before he was driven back by Rick Sovieta. Marshall, slow getting to his feet, trying to shake it off as he heads back to that defensive huddle.
Hufnagel back to throw. He's got the outside receiver, Dwight Edwards, running to the post. He's looking. He finds DeFrance out on the sideline, and as Don said, he has the first down, but on first down, he's looking for more running room, and he gives off the ground and ends up being a couple yards short. But Greg Marshall seems to be okay, but I tell you what, from what the coaches say, they've been very, very impressed with the way he's played football for them this year. He's had an outstanding season.
2nd and 3, Saskatchewan. Throwing deep, intended for Edwards. It's incomplete.
John was hoping that with Dwight's speed, he would be able to run by that secondary, but those safety people, Glenn Cook in particular, stayed deep where he belonged. Hufnagel's dropping back in the pocket now. He's trying to go for the home run right now. He lets it go long and high, but the safety man sits back there where he belongs in center field, and he knocks the ball down.
11:35 is the time left in quarter 3. 17-7. Ottawa leads Saskatchewan. Ken Clark with that cast on his left hand. He broke a finger a week ago in Winnipeg. Running the ball on the 3rd down gamble. Trying to straight arm a player and jammed his finger. It was broken. Bruce Walker in the end zone, finally conceding the single point. It's now 17-8 on that booming single by Ken Clark. And we'll return after this message. Struggling for that National League pennant will be seen in action against the Pittsburgh Pirates Wednesday night from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Join Ernie Afaganis, Dave Van Horn, and Duke Snyder at 7 Eastern Time for Major League Baseball action. Penalty flags all over the place as Lyle Wadasensky gets in to make the tackle on Sam Platt.
Saskatchewan's got to make some adjustments to shut down that running game.
Saskatchewan 46 offside. 1st down and 5.
Bernard West was offside on the play. So it will be 1st and 5 now for Ottawa.
As you see, Case takes the ball on the handoff here, and he comes back and gives it to Platt. This is the play they were successful with. But there to meet him is Wadasensky right in the hole, and that's what they're going to have to do.
Case throwing for a 1st down. Pat Stokwa grabbed it in front of Tom Schultz.
Right there, Don, you know, a lot of times long touchdown passes are, you know, very big highlights and big plays, but Stokwa made a heck of a play there. It was a 2nd down situation. Case wanted to go to the outside to McBride. He was covered. Stokwa had a man covering him, and he just stopped and slid into an open area, picks up 5 or 6, but it's a 1st down.
Pat Stokwa with an awful lot of athletic ability. He was an all-Canadian basketball player in college. He has really blossomed as a receiver this year as well for Ottawa. Here's a fellow who's really blossomed as a running back. He is giving the Rough Riders a ground game, the likes of which they haven't had for some time. Joe Farragelli has really turned around the fortunes of the Western Rough Riders this year. He currently has them in 3rd place. 2 points ahead of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Bombers, of course, losers this afternoon to Hamilton, 25-13. And the Ticats now with 17 points atop the Eastern Conference standings. Ottawa on 2nd spot with 8. This time, Saskatchewan was prepared for the running game.
They haven't tried to run inside very much. Most of their attempts have been from the off tackle hole to the outside. This time they just tried to fool them with Jim Reed going up the middle, but it's pretty tough to run against that 30 defense at times.
Whether or not Saskatchewan wanted Bernard West, making his first appearance in a green and white uniform, to be in the ball game is debatable, but he has been forced in because of the injury to Robinson. There's Tony Gabriel wide open. He's got a 1st down to the 40-yard line of Saskatchewan. Frank Robinson, the Tulane graduate, suffered a slight concussion in the 1st half of this ball game. we won't see him again this afternoon.
Case goes back to throw, and Tony Gabriel just sits in there and delays and lets all the traffic clear out, and then he comes back across the middle. Case finds him, and he picks up a good gain, and it's another first down.
He got 4 yards, virtually all on his own.
That was the play they ran 2 plays ago, and the last time Val Belcher and Rudy Phillips got out there and knocked them down and enabled Platt to get to the outside. This time the corner came up so quick that he beat the blockers across the line of scrimmage and forced the ball carrier to do something he didn't want to do, and that's what they're going to have to do to slow Ottawa down. They're moving the ball real well right now.
2nd and 6, Ottawa. Intended for Walker, penalty flag. I think Steve Dennis has drawn the attention of the officials for an interference charge.
That's just one of those things that happened, Don. It's that slant pattern with the receiver going into flat, and you get the receiver going down and running a slant to the inside.
Pass interference, Saskatchewan, first down.
It's a tough call, but the ball was led inside. That leads the receiver to the ball, but it also leads the defender. All right, here's Case. He drops back. He looks to his right. He's got the slant pattern called. He throws it in front of him. Both of them go for the ball. He hits him in the back. The referee calls it interference, and Ottawa has a first down.
First down, Ottawa. They are at the 26. Inside handoff to Platt. He got back to the line of scrimmage. He may have got 1 yard, not much more. With 7:15 remaining in the third quarter. The Ottawa Roughriders leading Saskatchewan 17-8. The Saskatchewan bench, Byron Illebrun.
Interesting story on him. Interesting story on Brian. He never had played offensive football until last season, and he stepped in there and he's become a starting offensive tackle in less than a year.
Case is caught and dropped for a loss. West was the man who got through to the Ottawa quarterback.
On this particular play, Jordan Case had Tony Gabriel going out into the flat like he was going to catch that short one, and then he turned upfield. So Jordan will come back. He will pump the football. He makes the little fake. Gabriel's going to go deep, but it takes a little too much time. The block was made. It's a good block by Jim Reed, but Bernard West got up and made a tremendous defensive play to put him in third down and force the field goal.
Jerry Organ will attempt another field goal. That wind not quite as strong as it was at the start of the ball game when it was blowing from the northwest at 22 kilometers per hour. However, it is into his face, but Organ still puts it through. A 39-yard field goal for Jerry Organ, and it's now Ottawa 20 and Saskatchewan 8.
In the past games, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have come out in the second half blazing, and they're going to have to get something going because Ottawa ate up a lot of time on the clock on that drive, even though, they got the 3 and they wanted the 7, but it's time now for Saskatchewan to make a move. It's going to be their day.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I'm sure, aware of the outcome in Hamilton at Iverwin Stadium as the Ticats beat Winnipeg 25-13. That means Saskatchewan, with a victory, could open up a 4-point advantage in the battle for third spot in the West.
I'm pretty sure the players are aware of that by now because that's a big incentive, They're coming from a 2-14 season, and now they got the opportunity to put some daylight between them and the other people to get into that third place, what you need for the playoff. And there's nothing that they'd like better, and there's nothing that these 28,000 people wouldn't like to see either.
However, all those viewers that are looking on back in Ottawa are hoping that the situation remains exactly as it is right now. That's the way they stand in the Western Conference. Edmonton heading for what seems another certain first-place finish in the West. Jerry Organ bouncing that kickoff. Dwight Edwards trying to get outside. Nowhere to go at the 38. Caught there by Peter Stenerson.
An interesting comment today, Don, made by the Ottawa coaches was that with the number of changes that they've made this year and their position in the second place in the Eastern Conference, that they're looking at the rest of these seasons to get that offense to gel for the playoffs. I think they've played pretty darn well today, so if it's going to get better than this, they got a good shot at it again.
Indeed they have. Saskatchewan now will try to get something going with John Hufnagel. Sideline, Tolbert, very close to a first down, bounced out by Bill Mitchell. The Saskatchewan coaches feel that Tolbert is perhaps their best receiver as far as technique and ability is concerned.
John rolls to the wide side of the field, looking to the backside to see what's going on, finds Tolbert on the sideline, and the new kid Mitchell gets out there to make the play, but not before the pass is completed, and it's very close. They're going to measure for the first down. But as you were talking with Tolbert, they feel that he's still learning to be a pass receiver. He come out of SMU where he had a kid named Ford down there that set some records in college, but this kid has got all the potential to be a super. He comes off the ball so fluid, and when he's just starting to learn how to be a good receiver, so he's going to be a good one.
It appears to be just a little short. It will be second and less than 1.
The chicken's having a little problem.
He's trying to fly.
I'll tell you what, Don, these people really enjoy themselves when they come to Taylor Field. Even the chicken.
Well, after a couple of very lean years, they have reason to be excited with the performance of the Roughriders this year. And John Hufnagel has a first down, it would appear.
The offensive line just moves him out, and the quarterback gets down low and follows him.
In the pregame introductions, the Roughriders actually introduced 13 players. They sent out both quarterbacks when they introduced the starting lineup.
Well, when they're going to play equal time, you got to give them equal billing.
I like Joe Farragelli's comment before the game. When I asked who was starting, he said, well, let's see. B comes before H in the alphabet, so I guess Joe's goes.
He's got a heck of a sense of humor, that man.
Hufnagel's got a heck of a throwing arm, finding Chris DeFrance. First down at the 45 of Ottawa. Larry Brune was the man who made the tackle.
Well, this is a good hit by Ottawa. Hufnagel rolls, finds Chris DeFrance in that seam. He makes a good move, gets outside. He spins, and just as he spins, Mitchell really lays one on him right here. Watch this. Boom. Tell you what, that'll give you a headache.
I think he would realize what number Bill Mitchell is wearing after that hit. 4:31 is the time left in the third quarter. The Roughriders from Saskatchewan in some trouble. Barnes needs to flip it away to Bigger. And Bigger turned what appeared to be a loss of about 10 into a gain of 7.
When you see quarterbacks do that, that's something you don't teach. That's an athlete. He just thinks on his feet. As you'll see right here, he's trying to look deep again. And Ottawa comes, and they get a good pressure on him. In fact, he's almost sacked right there by Seymour. He slides around, and as he's going down, just flips it forward underhand, a great figure, and they come out of it okay. They get 7 yards. There it is again. Just that little flip forward. That's something that you're always aware of what's going on around you.
I think it was Tom Wilkinson who invented that underhanded, left-handed pass,
left-handed. Yeah, left-handed. He's got that one patented.
Into the end zone for Walters, or down near the goal line, and it's a first down.
There it is again. Ottawa gambled. They came with the people to put the heat on Hufnagel. They know they had to throw, and they didn't get him again. As you'll see, John will come this way. Here come the linebackers after him. It's one-on-one downfield. Walters again gives the move outside, comes to the inside. The ball's on the money. They're on the 2-yard line. That's very well executed. As you see, he just gives him that move and goes back toward the post. That's a tough pass to cover. Glenn Cook's trying to get back. He just can't make it. Well thrown, well executed.
Walters taking it to the 1. He has scored Saskatchewan's only touchdown. It looked as though he was going to break away from Cook and get to the end zone, but Cook hung on at the 1-yard line. And Hufnagel was hit by Bill Mitchell as he delivered that ball. Lester Brown did not make it. He is stopped at the 1-yard line with 2:41 remaining in the third quarter. There's a timeout. And the Ottawa Roughriders continue to lead the Saskatchewan Roughriders 20-8, but the Western Riders are threatening to cut into that deficit.
That's Greg Figure's first touchdown of the year. I think that what happens when you get down close to that goal line, everybody keys on Lester Brown, and that's been the case the way it's been. So as you see right here, John Huffnagel takes the ball. He fakes to Lester Brown and hands to Greg Figure, and he just fights his way into the end zone for his first touchdown of the season.
He didn't get it by much, Ron.
Right here, Lester Brown straight ahead. He causes the gang to pile up, and Greg just fights his way in. He gets over the top. Grimes hits him, but he just puts him up in the air and allows him to sail into the end zone.
The point after. And it's now a 20-15 game in favor of Ottawa.
Looks a lot like the Montreal game, 20-8 lead. Montreal had a 26-8 lead, and then late in the third quarter, the Saskatchewan Roughriders caught fire on a pass to Dwight Edwards. Today, you never know. This one to Joey Walters could be the one, but they really come on strong, and right now, Ottawa needs to get something going to quiet them down again.
Well, they've got the pom-poms waving again at Taylor Field in Regina. I mentioned that 2 games are on the CBC television network next Sunday, Calgary and Toronto, and Winnipeg and British Columbia. Now, viewers in Western Canada, as well as those in Toronto, Barrie, and Peterborough, will see the BC Lions take on the Blue Bombers. That game is on CBC beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. So it's a doubleheader next Sunday on CBC television. Check your local listings for the telecast time in your area. Again, Watson is having difficulties putting that ball on the kicking tee. So Marshall Hamilton is going to come over and hold it for him. Platt and Kirk are back to receive. As it bounced away from him into the end zone, and he will be forced to concede a single point.
Most coaches like to see you catch that ball in the air, because when that ball hits artificial turf, you never know where it's going to go. But he did do the wise thing, and he downed it in the end zone. He gives up the single point, but it could have been a lot worse.
Paul Watson, a newcomer to Saskatchewan this year. Look at his kicking style.
He's got a weird one. He kind of circles up and then gets his steps down and comes through. It doesn't matter what kind of method you use to get there, as long as the end result's good and they stay on sides. All you ask.
This crowd at Taylor Field has come alive. Jordan Cage passing, interference, charged against McBride, working against Calvin Kirk.
Not much doubt about this one. It's bootleg action off of that play they ran. He just comes to the outside and throws a curl, as you'll see right here. He makes a fake. He got the guards coming with him. He rolls out. Kirk runs a curl pattern. The ball's right at him. Billy McBride comes right over the top of him. That's interference any way you add him up.
Calvin Kirk shaken up on that play. He has gone to the Ottawa bench. He is being replaced by Jeff Avery. The pitch to Platt to the short side, trying to fend off tacklers, but he does not escape Lyle Wozniacki.
Just a quick toss to him again. Again, he hit Phillips and Belcher out in front of him. They made their blocks, but there was too many green shirts. You'll see him take the ball. Just a quick toss to Platt. Here comes Phillips and Belcher. He's trying to make a play. They make some blocks, but there's too many green shirts around him.
It's 2nd and 9. He was able to pick up one. Walker comes wide to the left. Avery still in there in place of Kirk. Over the middle, knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Mike Samples.
Ball's just delivered a bit too low, and that happens every now and then. He was trying to get that ball to Gabriel quick over the middle, and Samples' big hands got up there in the way.
Mike Samples, he played with BC in Hamilton before finding employment with Saskatchewan. A Drake graduate, 6'2", 245 pounds, and he's done quite a job playing that nose guard this year in the Saskatchewan defensive scheme. Good kick by Oregon. Walters has it back at the 22. He has nowhere to go but down at the 25. Kevin Powell wrapped his arms around Joey Walters.
They tried to set up a return to the Ottawa side of the field to Walters' left, but the containment of the Ottawa special teams wouldn't allow him to get there, and when that happens, there's going to be a lot of white shirts up here.
Calvin Kirk still hobbling at that Ottawa bench. Apparently he has some problems with his calf. That sometimes is a knotted muscle. He appears to be trying to walk it off. Quick pass to Greg Figure, incomplete. Bill Mitchell was the man who stripped him of the football. Larry Brune, they're calling it a fumble, a reception and a fumble.
Well, it's hard to say. Figure just swings out of the backfield, and he finds the seam, and Hufnagel just dumps it.
Joe Faragelli is out there pleading the case on behalf of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It looked as though the ball was simply knocked out of his hands by Mitchell, but in the opinion of the officials, he caught the ball. No, they're changing it. Now Brancato gets his opportunity to walk out onto the playing field. It's only fair he should have equal time.
You betcha. Faragelli can get mad. Brancato can get mad. We'll let him go out. Maybe they should go out to center field, talk it over, and decide what's right. There's a play. It looks like the ball was caught. It's hard to say because you can't tell when he has control from that angle. All right, here comes Greg. We'll get a good picture of it here. The ball's in the hole. Greg has it in his hands. I don't think so. I don't think he ever had the ball wrapped up in his arms. It was bobbling.
I don't think he ever had control. I agree. Good call on the part of the men in the striped shirts.
Referees don't make many mistakes. That was a good one.
Second down, Hufnagel finding Walters for the first down. Out to the 40-yard line with just 3 seconds left in this third quarter.
That's exactly the same play they just threw to Figure. Figure went in motion, went inside the seam. This time the linebacker stayed with him. That allowed Joey Walters room a little bit further to the outside, and Hufnagel stuck it right in his chest, and he picks up the first down.
Saskatchewan trailing by 4. This will probably be the final play of quarter 3. It's been an entertaining football game at Taylor Field. However, that is usually the case when the two Rough Rider teams meet. He breaks a couple of tackles. How many times have you seen him do that? It appears as though he's trapped and he spins off those would-be tacklers.
Christopher France has a catch for 100 yards here at Taylor Field, and he caught one and spun and went 100 same way.
Well, that's the end of the third quarter. Saskatchewan in a drive. They trail by 4. 15 minutes of this ball game. Saskatchewan trailing by 4 to the sideline. Tolbert. And Tolbert is stopped at the 42. Penalty flags fly. It appears that a roughing charge will be assessed against Ottawa.
I believe it should be right here. The ball is thrown to Tolbert. He makes a couple moving dances and tries to get outside. Here you'll see Hufnagel look to his right, throw the quick out to Tolbert. He'll make the catch, dance a little bit, come back to the inside, and he gets a good hit. And right here, they grab him by the face mask and stretch his head. You can't do that. That's illegal. You want to give up 15 yards. That's a very, very silly penalty right now.
Well, the hit by man popped the helmet off Emmanuel Tolbert. However, it may prove to be a costly penalty against Ottawa. The 15 yards gives Saskatchewan a first down at the Ottawa 26. Play just underway in the fourth quarter. Ottawa dominated the first half of the ball game, actually the first 3 quarters for most of it anyway. Walters at the sidelines, however, he was out of bounds before he hauled it in.
He definitely was out of bounds, John. John Huffnagel just goes back in the pocket. He looks downfield. He's trying to throw the delay pattern underneath the Talbert. He's covered. He just lays it to the sidelines. Joey goes for it. Definitely lands out of bounds. Not much doubt. On isolation, he goes down the field. Walters gives a move, looks around, goes to the outside. He wasn't a primary receiver, and he wasn't looking. But he was out of bounds.
Well, Paul Watson is ready should he be called upon if the Rough Rider drive stalls on the second down play. It's complete to Dwight Edwards. He has a first down. He's taken out of the 12 by John Sutton.
Huffnagel rolls to the wide side of the field, looking back in the seam for Chris DeFrance, but the linebacker covers him, and that leaves Edwards one-on-one outside. And he makes the catch and makes the first down, and they're getting down in there. Dwight makes the catch. Huffnagel lays it in there, and he gets what he can. He's thrown out of bounds, but they've got a first down at the 12, and they're only down 4.
Draw play with Lester Brown hit right at the line of scrimmage. He may have picked up a yard before he was stopped by Greg Marshall.
That's a good defensive play by Greg Marshall. If he gets through there, he's got the opportunity now to get into the secondary. And when he's in the secondary, he's dangerous because he's got a lot of speed and quickness. And Greg Marshall prevented a big gainer, and it gives him a 2nd and 9 now.
Marshall, Raines, Simmons, and Seymour are the 4 that line up front, backed by Mitchell, Mans, and Sovieta. They'll be tested here. 2nd and almost 10. To the end zone. Walters, touchdown! There was also a penalty flag. However, it was pass interference against Ottawa. The touchdown will stand, and Saskatchewan is out front for the first time.
Walters just goes, the last 2 touchdowns, he's gone down the field to the inside. This time, he just runs to the outside. Huffnagel sees him. He makes the throw inside, and Joey just goes to the spot to catch the football. Glenn Cook had to pick him up man-to-man, and he can't get him. Joey's real wide. Here comes the ball. Cook's running to catch Walters, and he does not see the ball, and that allows Joey to slip in behind him. That's a good throw by the quarterback, an excellent catch by Walters, and now they're in control.
Well, I think it's obvious, and we've had confirmation in this ball game of what the coaches were telling us, that the quarterback and Joey Walters are operating on exactly the same wavelength.
That frequency means a lot, boy. I'll tell you, when you get that with a receiver and a quarterback, it's something to watch. It's really pretty.
23-20. Saskatchewan now ahead of Ottawa. The first time this afternoon that the Western Riders have been in front. Calvin Kirk scored the first 2 touchdowns of the ball game for Ottawa. Joey Walters has scored 2 TDs for Saskatchewan. And the pom-poms are waving. They are singing at Taylor Field.
It's a heck of a game to sing to. It's 23-20. Saskatchewan's come back from a 20-8 deficit. They got it in their favor in the last 3 games. It's been a second-half football team, and when you've got the confidence, you never give up. And when you get something going, anything can happen. And there he is. This guy is a tremendous athlete, and he's showing everybody why. Ottawa needs to get something going. They've stalled a few times in the second half, and it's enabled the Saskatchewan to take the momentum. They need to get it back because they're far from out of the ball game. There's no doubt about that.
Watson with the kickoff. Black takes it at the 10. Pretty good run back out to the 35. He returned to 25 yards.
Good return. The ball hits the ground. He makes the catch. He comes up field, finds a little bit of daylight, gets out to the 35-yard line, and now they have the opportunity with the field position they have to get that offense the way it was the first half. Get it in gear right now.
With a much more balanced attack than Saskatchewan so far in this ball game, but they now trail by 3. Calvin Kirk is back in. On the sidelines, Pat Scopa, incomplete. It appeared as though he had the ball in his grasp, but in trying to stay in bounds, he lost possession as he was hit by the defender.
Case just drops back. He's looking. He looks the back to this way. He throws the hook. He catches the ball, and Andre Jones comes up. The ball was falling away anyhow, and he gets a good hit by Andre Jones.
2nd and 10, Ottawa. 12:30 the time left in the football game. Case upset, dropped for a loss by Lyle Wozniacki.
That's a heck of a play right there because he is trapped. It's a good play offensively on Case's part because Goldsmith and them had him trapped. Case goes back to throw on this 2nd down situation. He's taking a look. Here comes the heat. He tries to escape. He gets away from Goldsmith. He starts to move upfield, and Lyle Wozniacki takes the legs out from under him.
Lying on the ground, Woz got that arm up, and Case went down. Big play by the SFU grad. Third down punt by Jerry Organ. McKechnie was going after it. Stu Fraser on the return. He slips at the 38.
Don't think he was going too far anyway. The Ottawa team came down, did a good job. They covered him up.
We have 11:53 remaining in the ball game. Saskatchewan leads 23-20.
Lines right here. He had his defensive line and linebackers in a meeting there on the sideline, trying to make sure that they know what their responsibilities are when that quarterback goes back to pass.
Well, in the second half, they have certainly been good pupils. There's a penalty flag down, complete to the Fran. Being caught at the 50. That will be a first down. But the flag is in the Saskatchewan backfield. It will probably be holding. Well, let's wait and see.
Ottawa 66 offside, decline, first down.
I quit trying to outguess those officials. Greg Marshall was offside, so it is a first down Saskatchewan. They are at their own 50. Greg Figger struggled for about 3 yards before he was stopped by Ron Simmons.
Good play by Simmons. It was kind of a counter action or a delay action by Figger, and the quarterback gave him the ball, and as he tried to go up through there, Simmons had gotten through the offensive line, and he hit him straight on, which cuts it down to a 3-yard gain.
23-20. Saskatchewan leading Ottawa.
On a running play, receivers go downfield to block. He really got him, didn't he? I think it was a heck of an effort. The guy did not get in on the tackle.
Quarterbacks have been known to block in a similar fashion. John Hofnagel runs for the first down. When he saw Bill Mitchell lining him up, he wisely went down.
Ottawa dropped all their linebackers back this time to provide pass coverage and help the defensive secondary, and as a result, that allowed an alley for John. He goes back to pass. There go the linebackers. They're getting back deep. He's got nowhere to throw it, so he starts running. Here comes Mitchell, and there goes Hufnagel if he's smart. Get down, John. Joe Barnes taking it easy over there, isn't he?
It's been a familiar pattern for Saskatchewan. Start Joe Barnes, bring on John Hufnagel, pick up 2 points.
Too long.
It appears as though a time clock violation is going to be charged against Saskatchewan.
Number 12, too long putting the ball to play.
That time, referee Neil Payne and I were on the same wavelength.
I tell you what, Don, that's good. He's got a unique grasp of the obvious, right? The official's glad to hear you agreed with him on that.
Well, our perch rather comfortable, and the fans indeed much more comfortable than they were at McMahon Stadium in Calgary last evening. Lester Brown across the 45 to about the 43-yard line.
1st and 15, and the way they've been throwing the football, you would expect them to be throwing again. But look, Hufnagel gives it to Brown. Brown finds the crease, up through, and he's got up ahead of steam. He's tumbling forward, makes a big gainer, and so they get back a lot of yards. And now it's 2nd and 6.
9:19 is the time remaining. Ottawa trails by 3. They desperately need that football, but their problem now is stopping Saskatchewan. Hofnagel finding Chris DeFrance for a first down at the 25.
That's a little different pattern. They haven't thrown before. This time they bring Joey Walters across underneath the linebackers and cross Chris DeFrance right behind them. And when those linebackers come up to cover Walters, DeFrance finds a hole. You'll see Walters cross right underneath the pattern. There he goes. DeFrance comes right in behind him. The linebackers vacated the area, makes the catch, first down. Hufnagel's looking. He's checking that linebacker out. He finds him. There's DeFrance in the hole. First down. Good field position, and they're on the move again.
Back to the live action. Very close to another first down with Emmanuel Tolbert on the receiving end.
Hufnagel's telling him it's only about, he says it's short by about a foot. It's just a sprint out pattern to Tolbert to the sidelines, and they get 9.5 yards or so.
Well, that's the way it looks at various times from various angles and on our videotape replays when our director, Ronnie Harrison, and our isolated camera director, Brent Haywood, have some fun.
Well, they're catching so many passes out there today, they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, they got the short yardage team in now.
Second down, they're going for the bundle. Incomplete. Looking for Dwight Edwards.
Second and short like that is a good time to go for the touchdown. He kept everybody in. He kept Walters and Figure and everybody else inside. He sent only the 2 receivers out. They both ran inside patterns, though. It's kind of surprising. I got a feeling one of them might have been supposed to go the other way because I thought they were going to collide in the end zone. But the ball was low and it was off target anyway, so now they still have the opportunity to go for that first down.
Fellow who wore number 23 for Saskatchewan for 16 years. Used to try and cash in on that once in a while. On third down, the Roughriders drive straight ahead, and they appear to have it.
And it's pretty tough to stop that quarterback when you only got a couple feet to go. You know, I've seen him stop with 1, but boy, when you get a couple feet, they're lined up a yard off the ball, and that offensive line fires out and gets a stalemate. They'll make it.
Ooh, that was close.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a defensive play because he didn't make it by very much. Middle of that defensive line did a heck of a job.
7:29 is the time left in the fourth quarter. Saskatchewan leads by 3. CBC Network. Some viewers will see Calgary and Toronto. The rest of the country will see the BC Lions and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Check your local listings for the game at the telecast time in your area. First and 10, Saskatchewan. Hufnagel has it picked off in the end zone. And John Sutton wisely goes down.
That was a good defensive play by Sutton. They were in a zone defense, and Hufnagel rolls to his left, and Joey Walters trying to find that dead spot in that zone back there. He had an out pattern on the bottom of the screen, and Walters hits the seam. Here comes Hufnagel outside. He sees Walters in the seam. He can't get it there fast enough. Sutton reads the quarterback as a good defensive back does in his zone and comes back in to make the interception. Hufnagel's rolling right out. Talbert's running it out. Walters is in the seam, and Sutton makes a big interception.
Ottawa now lifts the ball at the 10-yard line. First and 10. Jordan Case in trouble. He's dropped back in the end zone. Vince Goldsmith was the man who got him, but I think they'll rule he was dropped at the 1.
Good defense all the way around. Jordan Case had time to throw. His receivers are covered. But here comes Goldsmith. He got around somebody, and then, well, I'll tell you, when your time is gone, it's gone. There he is. He's back in the pocket. He's looking around. Whoever he wants is covered. But now here comes Goldsmith. Now he's got nowhere to hide, and he's down.
He wound up back in the end zone, but touched down at the 1. And it's now 2nd and 19. Drop play with Sam Flood. He fumbles the ball. It's loose. Recovered by Ottawa. In the end zone, it will be a safe. No.
I think it's a touchdown.
Did Saskatchewan get it or Ottawa? Ottawa's
Looks
Tony
like Ottawa.
Gabriel. Is it a safety touch or are they going to mark it at the 1?
Well, they're going to talk about it.
I think just about everybody on the field wants to express an opinion.
After Coach Brancato.
George Brancato now out on the field, talking with Jerry Organ. Joe Farragelli also out on the field, waiting the verdict of the officials.
It's a big decision right now. This is a big one.
It's a safety touch.
I think I'd have to agree with that call, Don. That ball pops loose, and I think when Gabriel recovers it, he's in the end zone.
So now Ottawa will be forced to kick off. They yield 2 points and must also give up the football with 6:07
You watch
left.
right here. Here comes Platt up the middle. Somebody gets a helmet on that ball right there, and it comes flying out of there. The ball's rolling free on the ground. Let's see what happens. Gabriel got control. I think he's in the end zone.
Don't think there's much doubt. He was across the goal line before he actually had control of the
Now
ball.
let's look at it again. Here comes Platt. There's the ball rolling free. Gabriel comes back. I think by the time he gets control, he's in the end zone.
So Ottawa is now forced to kick off. They trail by 5. 6:07 is the time left in this ball game. Well, worse things could have happened on that play. The Ottawa Roughriders really still need a touchdown to win it.
Yeah, they needed the field goal before, but the touchdown does put them back in the lead. So, you know, they came out of it all right. Ottawa needs to stiffen up.
The kickoff by Jerry Organ. Tails to Dwight Edwards. Edwards is stopped at the 34. Larry Brune and Bill Mitchell were both in on the tackle.
Larry Brune's always been a good special teams man, and he shows you why. He comes down, makes the tackle at the 35, and this is kind of a crucial series for the Ottawa defense. They need to put the brakes on, get some momentum, and get field position for that offense.
Doug McIver, University of Manitoba graduate, played with the Toronto Argonauts before coming to Saskatchewan 3 years ago. An integral part of that Rough Rider defensive unit this season. Pressure on Hopnagle. He is going to be dropped for a loss. Simmons quickly burst through. And it will be a loss of about 10, maybe even more. Let's see where they mark it.
Well, we just said they needed a big play from the defense, and sure enough, Hopnagle goes back to throw. You'll see him sprint to his right. Ron Simmons is going to get free, coming right up the middle, right there. Here he comes. Hopnagle's got nowhere to go, and Simmons gets his hands on him, and the referee wisely blows it dead, and Simmons lets him go. Good defensive play.
Rough Riders with 2 quarterback sacks in this ball game. Ottawa with 21 in the season. The pass is complete. On 2nd down, however, Edwards is well short of a first down.
They needed at least 20 right there. That's a pretty good defensive play by Jerome Stanton. He's going to give him the one in front of him, but he's not going to let him get deep. And he comes up and makes a tackle immediately, causes Saskatchewan to have to punt the football. They only got 8 yards.
It's now 3rd and 13. 4:46, the time left in the game. Saskatchewan leading Ottawa 25-20. Low snap. Clark had to hurry the kick. It's fielded on the run by Kirk. And Kirk is belted at the 48 of Saskatchewan.
They came with the pressure that time. They tried to block the punt. John would have certainly liked to got that team moving down the field this time, but the Ottawa defense kept them from doing it. And they came with the pressure to try to block the punt. Ken Clark with the cast on and everything made a good play and got the punt out. And now the Ottawa is in good field position, and it's getting late.
Kirk wide left, Walker up to the right. This has been an entertaining football game. Pressure on Case. He gets the pass away, and it is complete. There are penalty flags. Tony Gabriel juggled the ball, was able to hang on, and I think a roughing infraction will be assessed against Saskatchewan.
This is a screen pass. Jordan Case goes back in the pocket. He's going to throw the screen out here to Platt, but it's covered. He scrambles around, and he's about to get in trouble. When he finds Gabriel, he makes the catch. He gets speared, and that's 15 yards in this league. You do not spear a guy when he's on the ground. That's a good call by the official. Case does a lot of work to get out of trouble here.
Good concentration by Gabriel to hang on to that ball.
It sure does, and he'll have trouble breathing tomorrow. He took a heck of a hit in the ribs.
Costly penalty against Saskatchewan. First and 10 Ottawa now at the Saskatchewan 24. Throwing into the end zone for Walker. Incomplete. Being covered by McBride. Walker appealed to the officials for a flag, but none was forthcoming.
Jordan Case tried to go to Bruce Walker deep in the end zone. Billy McBride made a good defensive play. You'll see here, it's a little play action. He's going to roll to the outside. He lays it deep, try to get behind McBride. Here comes Walker, and the ball is excellent defense by Billy McBride. He just wasn't open. But he ran out of time. He took a pretty good shot after he delivered that football.
Second and 10 now with 3:42 left in the ball game. Jordan Case will run the ball. Penalty flags are down.
The Saskatchewan defensive line now just winding up and going. They know he's going to throw the football, and I believe we're going to get a holding call here on Ottawa, and that's going to be too bad because he made 6 yards on a heck of an effort. Jordan Case goes back right here. He goes into the pocket, but here comes Samples and Wozniacki coming. He finds a little bit of daylight. He gets through here. He makes a good gain out of it. They get called for holding. Tackle made by Bernard West coming back.
So the Ottawa Roughriders retreat to the 34. And to go the other direction now, they face a 2nd and 20 play.
2nd and 20 is it. It's tough to get all 20 at one time.
Case being chased by Wozniacki. He throws to Walker on the sideline, and he is stopped short of a first down.
Nice effort by Jordan Case. He's looking for Tony Gabriel down to the flag, but he's covered.
3:06 remains in the ball game. A 3rd down play coming up for Ottawa, and they trail by 5. That pass from Jordan Case to Bruce Walker did in fact produce a first down. On the sidelines, initially I didn't think it was good enough, but Walker had picked up enough yardage for the first down. Into the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Kirk, knocked away by Steve Dennis.
Good defensive play by Steve Dennis right here. It's a bootleg action again with Case trying to get outside. He's got Kirk going to post. He drilled it. He threw a nice pass. You'll see he fakes to the back. He gets to his rolls to his left, sets up, throws it right on the money, and Steve Dennis just gets in front of him to knock it down. That is good defensive football because that's touchdown.
2:47, the time left in the game. Ottawa trailing by 5, looking at 2nd and 10 from the 12 of Saskatchewan. Case in difficulty. There's also a penalty flag. Case is downed at the 9 by Vince Goldsmith.
This is the same play he just ran, only this time I think he's looking to come back the other way. Only trouble is Samples won't allow him to have the time to do it. He escapes, starts to run. Goldsmith makes the play, but it looks like it's going to be a penalty on the play anyway.
Holding, it would appear, against Ottawa.
Ottawa 14 holding, decline, 3rd down.
Here it is. He's looking back into the middle. Samples gets the pressure on him and forces him out of the pocket. He starts to run. He finds a little bit of daylight, but Goldsmith comes over the top and makes a good defensive play. puts them in that third down situation, and this is a big, and it's a tough gamble right here. You know, they're going to go for the field goal.
Well, with 2:37 left in the game, Ottawa is going for 3. Oregon kicks it. It's good. So now it's 25-23. Saskatchewan leading Ottawa with 2:25 left in the game. Saskatchewan leading by 2 with 2:25 left to play. And they decide to scrimmage at their own 35 rather than have Ottawa kick off after that successful field goal by Jerry Organ. Well, Ottawa must stop the Western Riders here and get that ball back. A field goal now could win it for them. To the sidelines for Dwight Edwards. He doesn't have a first down. He stopped at the 43.
I'll tell you what, with 2 minutes left in a football game and clinging to a 2-point lead, that's a pretty gutsy call. He sprinted right, knew what he was doing. Dwight Edwards open, and they need 2 for the first down, and it's a big 2 yards they got to get, and they got to get him right now because I think they would punt the football otherwise. The quarterback knows what he's doing when he'll gamble right there. He made a good throw.
It's going to be tough selecting a Carling O'Keefe offensive and defensive player contest because there have been a number of outstanding individual performances. John Corkindale into the ball game, appears to have the first down. Nothing fancy, just straight ahead with McCorkindale. 1:59 is the time left to play. Tolbert goes wide to the right, Dwight Edwards to the left. They're sticking to the ground with Lester Brown. He has a gain of 8.
Hopnagel sprints to his right, just hands off to Lester Brown. He runs straight ahead. He gets good blocking up on the right side of that line by Hildebrand and Quilter, and he's able to bring up a 2nd down 2 situation.
Second down, again the short yardage unit. Ken Clark getting ready should he be called upon if the Roughriders fail on this 2nd down conversion. I do believe they have failed. Greg Feger appears to have been stopped short of the midfield stripe.
He's going to be short, but not by very much. That was an excellent defensive play by number 19, Greg Grimes, and 36, Mann's the middle linebacker. They faked into the middle, and as Feger came over the top, he was met very good by Greg Grimes. He just stepped into that backfield and hit him. And if he hadn't gotten him that hard, he'd have fell forward, and they didn't allow that. And it's going to give him the opportunity to have that ball coming down the stretch.
However, the Ottawa Roughriders will be forced to start a drive from deep in their own zone. Calvin Kirk and Bruce Walker will drop back for this 3rd down kick by Ken Clark. It looks as though they're going to try and go after it. And a roughing the kicker call will be charged against Ottawa. The Ottawa Roughriders were going after it. Ian Beckstead was coming through on the kicker, Ken Clark. And he hit him when he was still in the kicking motion.
It's a tough penalty to take, but you know in that situation, they've got to come after the punter. And he goes after it, he tries to make it. Ken Clark back in punt formation, it's a good snap. They got the pressure on, he steps forward, the ball does not touch anybody, and as a result, Beckstead runs into him and it's roughing the kicker, and that's probably going to be about all she wrote.
46 seconds is all the time that remains in this ball game.
It's a tough penalty to take, but you know, you got to go after the ball. You gamble and you gamble and you lose. You don't always win.
One more step and Beckstead might have been the hero of this ball game with a block kick.
Yeah, he blocks the kick. They get it down here. It may roll for a touchdown. You never know. They get it and score. He's a hero. There's not much difference between being a hero and a ghost hunt.
Well, it's been a familiar script at Taylor Field. Start Joe Barnes and then bring on John Hufnagel. And with the seconds ticking away, Saskatchewan will stay on the ground.
See Hufnagel put it in the air anymore. With 43 seconds left, he's just going to run the ball, eat up the clock, hope it runs out in a hurry.
Lester Brown picked up a couple of yards. Of course, with the penalty, the clock that time did not start until the ball was actually snapped. However, now with referee Neil Payne moving away from the football, the seconds are ticking away.
Yeah, he's a little upset. Coach Brancato's a little upset right now.
That look of resignation etched in the face of George Brancato, the Ottawa coach. They're going to call a timeout. 22 seconds remain, and Ottawa calls a timeout in order to stop the clock. Let's pause just briefly. 22 seconds remain on the clock. Ken Clark with a third down kick, bouncing into the end zone. Walker downs it for a single point. 12 seconds now remain. And that means that the best the Ottawa Roughriders could do with a field goal would be tie the game. However, a touchdown would still win it.
Very tough thing right now. Jordan Case got to come up with a miracle, really, when you got that far to go. The ball's on the 35. That goal line looks like it's in the next county someplace. You know, it's tough. Saskatchewan will be sitting back. Let's see what he does.
How many defenders do you think they'll drop off?
8.
The clock doesn't start until the ball is snapped. Case throwing deep down the sidelines for Gabriel. It's incomplete. Knocked away by Andre Jones with help from Billy McBride.
Jordan Case is going to roll out here. He goes back. Now he sprints to the outside. He's trying to buy time. He just floats it downfield. Gabriel's turned up on the sideline. He's trying to get it to him so he can go out of bounds. But then Andre Jones gets back and makes a good defensive play. You'll see Jordan Case get cut by Mike Samples just as he releases the football, and that hurts.
This could be the ball game right here. Case throwing at the sideline. Walker steps out, but time has run out. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders solidify their hold on third place in the West with a 26-23 triumph over the Ottawa Roughriders. Ottawa led by a score of 14-0 in the first quarter. However, under the direction of John Hufnagel, Saskatchewan, as they have done now in 3 consecutive games, staged a second half comeback. Joe Faraghelli, I would suggest, a contender for Coach of the Year honors at this point in the 1981 season. And we'll be back with our post-game show right after these messages. 26-23, the final score. Saskatchewan defeating Ottawa. Another Taylor Field comeback for the Western Riders.
It's been a very typical game of the last 3 or 4 that Saskatchewan's played. John Hufnagel's come off the bench in the second half and just put many, many points on the board and moved the team up and down the field, and he did it again today. It's a great football game.
They fell behind against Montreal. They pulled it out. They fell behind against Winnipeg. In Winnipeg, they pulled it out. They fell behind here against Ottawa by 14 and pulled it out. A number of outstanding individual performances in this afternoon's ball game, both offensively and defensively, on both sides of the football by both teams.
And now, the Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Star.
And the offensive and defensive stars of the game, number 76, the Wizard of Woz, Lyle Wozniacki, and the relief pitcher deluxe, John Hopnagel. Gentlemen, congratulations on another outstanding performance. You guys are following a tired old script.
I tell you what, I wish we could change our game plan so we wouldn't have to come from behind all the time.
Oh, you enjoy that, John, don't you?
Oh, I'll tell you, Coach, you know, first of all, I'd just like to say you did a nice job last night.
John, you threw the ball well in the last 3 football games, probably as well. A lot of people say that you've ever thrown it in your life. Would you agree with that, or you just feel that the team has so much confidence that it's rubbing off on everybody? I don't understand it.
I think that's the key factor there, Ron. We've had excellent protection, and heck, I'm throwing the ball up there, and the receivers are doing a great job adjusting to the ball and making the great catches. They're making my job a lot easier than it should be, and I just appreciate it, and I'm just going to keep on winging.
John, in the scheme of things, had the injury to Joe Barnes not occurred, was it the strategy of the coaching staff to perhaps wait again until halftime?
Oh, I'm sure it was. I thought Joe was doing a good job out there.
John, we would like you to take a look at that monitor down there and watch this play and tell me how many years you had to practice to perfect it. Okay?
Well, let's see. This is just it's a throwback, and I'm reading oh, Jesus. Yeah. Joe Paterno from Penn State would be proud of me there.
That's a good effort, John. That's something you can't teach. It shows your alertness on the field, that you're aware of the situation. You find great figure, you turn a loss into a gain, and that's the way this club's operating right now. And it's a tribute to you and Joe Barnes and to Coach Faragelli. Everything's going right for you, and I think for once again you had yourself just one heck of a day. I'd personally like to congratulate you.
Thank you very much, Ron. I appreciate that.
Let's talk to Lyle Wozniacki now. Lyle, in the first half of the ball game, they seem to be hurting you with the run with Platt and Jim Reed. But you made some adjustment in the second half. What did you do differently?
Well, basically, yeah, they were doing a lot of quick out patterns, and then they started coming back with a sprint draw. And they've got that sprint wide offense that they run, and they were giving it to the back, and our linebackers weren't really checking it out. Then our defensive line coach told me specifically on my side, he goes, try to check the back and see if he's going to get the fake or not. So I tried to stay at home a bit, and our linebackers stayed more at home. Plus, we had a couple of new guys in there, and the inside linebackers, and they were a little shaky at the beginning, but I think they started reading better in the second half.
I think it was obvious that in the first half of the ball game, you missed CC back in that middle.
Yeah, we did. Especially Frank Robinson got hurt, too, and he was sort of our main leader out there in the linebackers. And we actually had, two new guys playing, Schultze and Cam Hackney. At the beginning, I think they were pretty nervous, and then finally they got it together, and I thought they did an excellent job in the second half.
I think your sack total now reads something like 11 and a half. I don't know where you got the half, but you're having an outstanding season. Do you feel this is your best season so far?
Well, I don't know. It's tough playing a 3-4 defense. I thought last year I had a good year, but yeah, I think overall the people I'm playing with really helps. Like Mike Samples, I thought he had one excellent game, especially in the second half today. And when he's getting double teamed all the time, it makes it a lot easier on me. So.
Well, you enjoy hitting those quarterbacks. I can remember a few years ago, you said that there's nothing you like better than sacking quarterbacks. And that little dance that you do at the end, the people love it. Let me ask you this. It's little things like that that you feel, in your opinion, that add to the morale and the confidence of that defensive unit?
I think so. I hope so. I think the guys get up on it. And as for me doing that dance, Ronnie, I remember I tried to get this little number 23, but I never, ever got to him. It's been one of the disappointments of my life.
All right, take a look at this one. Let's see what you're going to do here, Lyle. You're going to be getting messing around in here for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not doing too much. That's a typical Lyle Wozniacki move there.
Is that a good move right there? Was that your best one?
Well, I told him not to come my side so goalie can get the sack. So.
You betcha. Lyle, just a tremendous football game. That's 3 in a row now, I believe. You're starting to open up a gap for that third playoff position. I think both you and John played well as the rest of the team, and it looks like some green days ahead for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, thank you very much, Ronnie, and I'd also like to say you did a heck of a job last night, and it's good to see you out there.
Hey, Coach, let me reiterate those statements of the two players, John Hopnagel and Lyle Wozniacki. Now, before they get away, I think they're still on heads. I'd like to fire one more question at both of you. The second largest crowd ever. Everybody seems to have an awful lot of fun. They get those green and white pom-poms going. It must inspire you down in the field. The crowd must be worth something. Taylor Field, an advantage to the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
There's no question about that. I think General Manager Jim Spavital has just done a tremendous job with the Rider Pride Logan, the things that he has for the fans, even before the football games, the pep rallies, the parties the night before. and I think the fans appreciate that, and they really show it come game day.
I know. I'd like to add the same. We were in Saskatoon, and 4 of us did a quarterback luncheon, and we walked in there, and the 300 people gave us a standing ovation, and we're only 6 and 4. I've never ever seen anything like that. Well, they gave 3 of us. John didn't get the standing ovation, but it was a great feeling. And the people on the streets here, they recognize and they say, "Way to go!" and they're with you. It's just a great town. It really is.
Lyle Wozniacki and John Hufnagel, congratulations once again on your victory and being chosen the stars of this football game. The Saskatchewan Roughriders now with a record of 7 wins and 4 losses, and the Riders in the race for 3rd spot in the Western Conference now have a 4-point advantage over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. A big game last week as Saskatchewan beat Winnipeg at Winnipeg Stadium. This afternoon, the Blue Bombers went to Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. The final score was 25-13. Here's John Wells.
Leo Cahill and I witnessed a rather between the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the injury-riddled Winnipeg Blue Bombers this afternoon at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. The game was surprising from the outset. Dieter Brock went to the attack on the second play from scrimmage and found Rick House. It looked routine, but House turned it into a big play. Eluding a tackle there by number 16, Howard Fields, and starting upfield, House shook off several Tiger Cat tacklers en route to the end zone 81 yards away. The touchdown came at 1:18 of the opening quarter, and the Bombers were out front, 7-0 of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. In the second quarter, Clemens went to work and found Rocky DiPietro all alone to set up the first major score of the afternoon for the Tiger Cats. DiPietro, and several plays later, the Tiger Cats were down to the 1-yard line, where Rufus Crawford got the call and slipped in from 1 yard away. That tied the score at 7 with Crawford's touchdown. Still in the second, Clemens found Steve Stapler. Stapler slipped in behind the Bombers' secondary and raced 35 yards upfield. He was finally forced out of bounds at the 1-yard line. That set up another touchdown for the Tiger Cats. This time, Crawford again. This time from the same spot on the field, the 1-yard line. Hamilton moved out in front, 14-7. Later in the game, Dieter Brock was looking for Rick House again, and this time he was well off the mark. Linebacker Ben Zambiazzi stepped in front of the pass intended for House. Zambiazzi raced down the sidelines for a 52-yard interception return. Dieter Brock, the last man with a chance, couldn't bring him down. The Tiger Cats were in complete control. In the second half, the Bombers had their problems, and the Tiger Cat defense took over. From the 3-yard line, 3rd and goal to go. The play was made by Covington. The Hamilton Tiger Cats held on to preserve a 25-13 victory over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Now let's go back to Regina.
26-23, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, their 3rd straight victory. All of them following the same script, coming from behind. And now Saskatchewan has a leg up in the race for a 3rd spot in the West, Ron, with a 4-point edge on Winnipeg.
It's a big win for them today. That 4-point edge that they get now is a big one because they're going into their break. They're off next weekend, and then they face the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a back-to-back series. So, you know, when you got a break coming, it's great to win that football game. You enjoy it, and you don't mind working a little bit harder when you get back. So it was a big one for them, and we said last night, Don, every Western Conference game the rest of the way is going to be important, and it will.
Well, Ottawa had an edge at halftime statistically, but the second half was all Saskatchewan, and with John Hufnagel throwing strikes, they accumulated 25 first downs. They didn't have much of a rushing offense, and most of Ottawa's ground game occurred during the first half. But in the second half, with Hufnagel hitting, Saskatchewan picked up 338 yards, and Joey Walters was a favorite target all afternoon. He scored 2 touchdowns. Now, Edmonton, with that 21-10 triumph over Calgary last night in that monsoon at McMahon Stadium, a 9-1-1 record. British Columbia trails by 3, and Saskatchewan trails Edmonton by 5 points. Saskatchewan will play Edmonton here at Taylor Field in a couple of weeks, and that should be quite a battle. Winnipeg and Calgary each have 10 points. Now, Hamilton is assured of a playoff position. The Ottawa Roughriders are fairly secure in the race for a playoff position as well, mainly due to the ineptness of the Montreal Alouettes and the Toronto Argonauts. They have just one That's the situation as far as the standings are concerned in the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. Now, Ronnie, just before we talked to the players of the game, a couple of fans stuck their head in the press box and said, Ron Lancaster, congratulations on building this Saskatchewan Roughrider team. Now, last year, I think if you look at the depth chart and the roster of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, to this year, there are only 4 new faces this year on that Saskatchewan team.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to look at some of the faces that are new. You got Vince Goldsmith and Lau Wozniacki are leading the team in sacks. Frank Robinson and Carl Cornell inside. I think the biggest improvement in the Saskatchewan Roughriders has been on the defensive side of the football. I think that the athletes over there now are capable of winning, as everybody's seeing. I believe that Coach Faragelli's done a tremendous job in getting these guys ready to play. He started to get them to believe in themselves during the preseason. They came out in the first game against Toronto and won 19-18. Now, that's no big deal, but they come back here and lose to Winnipeg the next game, and then, you know, people start looking, thinking, well, it's just another one of those years. Well, they come on and win, and they start winning, and he gets that confidence factor built up, and right now they're a power to be reckoned with. I really believe that.
I think that's one of the big things that Faragelli has done. Pops is a most popular coach wherever he has worked. Winnipeg as an assistant, Edmonton as an assistant, and now in Regina as a head coach, and he has the players believing in themselves.
You've got to believe in yourself if you're ever going to succeed in anything, and the players in Edmonton loved him when he was there, and the players right here love him, and I think he's just, I myself personally think he's just one tremendous individual. He's a great person.
26-23, Saskatchewan defeating Ottawa. Next week, 2 games. The Calgary Stampeders will play the Toronto Argonauts. The BC Lions go against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Check your local listings for the game and the telecast time in your area. 26-23, the final score, Saskatchewan winning.
CFL 81, brought to you by Canadian Pacific, owned by Canadians working for Canadians. By Firestone, a new generation of tires from a world of experience. And by Carling O'Keefe, brewers of OV and the Carlsberg family.